morning.
Shut the hell up.
Good morning.
Did it to myself.
Shut the hell up.
Did
Good
it
morning.
Shut the hell up.
to myself.
At least you're consistent. I mean, there's that. I mean, you know.
It's like 3 shows this week. I just forgot to bring the cans in. Just forgot to grab the headset. The last thing I do before I depart the fortress of nerditude is I set all of my necessary and required equipment atop the laptop of lies. I put the tablet of truth, the cell phone of condescension. I don't know. I'm just coming up with words now. I put everything I need for the show on top of the computer. I grab whatever beverage I'm imbibing upon that day. Today, a nice little black cherry flavored sparkling water beverage with other natural flavors. 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 caffeine, 0 sodium. Yeah, I forgot that too. Kobe.
It was aggressive.
Yeah, sorry about that. Dude, it's Friday. All right, it's Friday. I'm trying to pull my life together. It's going like okay at best. But Fridays are good, man. Fridays are good. We got a couple of guests coming up for you later on today. We've got joining us on the show today, Will Lowry. Will Lowry, not Martin Lawrence's character from Bad Boys. Will Lowry is a golf podcaster and broadcaster that I am a big fan with. And coming up at 9:30 this morning, great one. We are going to be joined by a guy that is an elite caliber athlete. He is the LeBron James of his sport. He is a man that sits high atop a mountain of excellence. He is United States Olympic curling team gold medalist winner, Matt Hamilton. I cannot tell you how freaking geeked I am. I have been trying for the past 3 years to get Matt Hamilton on the show. We have missed him. We were supposed to have him last year. He was down here for a curling event at the Pavilion, and unfortunately, the timing just did not work out. We were supposed to have him last year at the BMW Pro-Am because we broadcasted live from that event last year, and unfortunately, the timing and the schedule just did not work out. And it's been like miss with Matt Hamilton for like 3 years running now. Finally got him locked down today at 9:30. Really looking forward to that. Matt Hamilton is the Olympics start up here in just a couple of weeks, right? We're what? Little over a month away?
I believe there might be some trials on
TV
trials tonight.
There are trials taking place right now. And I have not gotten as into them as I would like. I did watch a little bit of the replay of Simone's run to her U.S. championship, her 9th. She becomes the most dedicated gymnast in terms of domestic medals because she's very, very good at what she does. I did watch a little bit of a run of Simone, but outside of that, haven't really gotten into the trials yet. They're about to start firing up across the country. And do you watch the Olympic trials? Like, are you the guy that like you flip channels and no matter what it is, there's a trial on, I'm popping in?
Yeah, if I see it's on, for sure.
I'm the same way. It does not matter what it is. If I am flipping channels and I see that there are Olympic trials on where a group of amateur athletes are doing their best to try to make it to the biggest show on planet Earth, and they want to rock the red, white, and blue to do it, bro, I'll watch anything. I will watch tiddlywinks if you throw an American flag on the side of the jersey and make it an international competition. And by the end of it, I will be the tiddlywinks guy on the station. For those of you that were not with us 4 years ago, right when I got here and we had the COVID Olympics.
Was it really that long?
Yeah, this will be my second Summer Olympics here in the upstate. For those of you that were not with us, I moved here in 2020. Of course, we had the COVID Olympics. They were in Japan? Question mark. I think Japan that year. When the Olympics start up, Rob Brown becomes the biggest whatever fan that you need. By the end of the Olympics, I will be an expert in skateboarding. I will be an expert in swimming and diving. I will be an expert in BMX. I will be an expert in everything except water polo. And there was one more. There's one more. I'm like, I just can't. Even international sports, I can't get this. Yes, Keegan, self-proclaimed expert. Because if I learned anything from game one of the NBA Finals last night, Lonzo, I don't know if you noticed, I changed my Twitter handle at halftime of that contest last night.
I did notice. I'm not on social media usually during the game. I just watch the game. I will say this. Keegan says self-proclaimed. I talked about this yesterday. It didn't happen today. It's weird. I didn't get an alert that Rob Brown, knower of ball, was broadcasting live on X today.
Probably for the best.
I don't know why.
To be honest,
I don't know why I didn't get my alert, because it's big and it's blue and it declares who you are.
Obviously, we are going to talk NBA Finals Game 1 coming up here in a few minutes from now. But
I thought you were going to say you're going to talk to Elon about, it not doing it every single time.
No, not today. Not today. Not after every prediction I made for Game 1 last night. With the exception of the under's gonna hit.
Pressure's off me. Now,
yeah, it is.
Now I missed. I'm so relieved.
You're in the clear.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. It was rare air. It was a position I haven't been in a long time. And I'm glad that it's done.
I got a lot wrong about last night. Now, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that I did go Dallas plus 6.5. That's good news. Or excuse me, that's the bad news. Because that one was miserable.
When I went to bed, which was like near the end of the third quarter, they got within 8.
For a minute there,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm about to look like a damn genius.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, all right. They figured something out.
Yep.
And then something happened in the fourth quarter.
We're going to talk about it in a minute. For a minute, I thought I was going to look like a genius this morning. I thought, watch this. They're going to win it by the hook. They're going to lose by 6 on the dot, and I'm going to look brilliant tomorrow. Nope. We'll come back to that in a minute. To finish up the thought on the Olympics and why I'm very excited to have Matt Hamilton on. Whenever the Olympics roll around, I become a huge fan of every sport. I will be in on gymnastics. I will be in on fencing. I will be in on table tennis, to the point that I will get upset at you during the Summer Olympics if you call it ping pong. All right? Have some damn respect. It's table tennis.
Especially now that your nemesis is no longer here. So, I mean,
I hadn't even thought about that yet, and you didn't need to bring it up.
You're welcome.
You mean my nemesis? My nemesis? My nemesis. I already am, but I will be an even more ardent beach volleyball fan. All right. I want you to know that while I do not understand the game at all.
When people say they're an ardent beach volleyball fan, you know what people think.
No, I watch the bros too.
Okay.
I watch the dudes.
All right. I'm
100%.
just saying.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes to what you're saying. Am I right, Kerry Washington? What up, girl? But I watched the bros get out there.
She's not playing anymore, is she?
No, but when she was.
Okay.
Misty May Trainer? Yes, ma'am. Big fan. Big fan. The point here is, when the Olympics roll around, Rob Brown will become an expert on everything. You want to talk a little handball during the Summer Olympics? Don't you worry. I will have every single tactic and strategy down to a science by the time the handball finals roll around.
Yeah, but there's that one sport you're just gonna pretend like it's not there and ignore it, and that's water polo.
Can I tell you why I hate not that I hate water polo. That's not the right word. You know what it is about water polo? He
pictures himself in one of those hats.
Nope.
That's what it is.
Nope. We don't even need to make a joke here. I would literally to the letter of the word die if I tried water polo.
Yeah, but you like grew up by the ocean. You probably swim really well.
Sure did. I swim really well. To this day, even my orca whale looking ass can still get back and forth across a pool for sure.
Come on, you're at least down to a beluga. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair. And pasty white, so it's a perfect comparison. Even my big old, but slightly less big, but still big old, but shrinking behind can get back and forth across a pool. No problem. However, I grew up on the beach. That is correct. I grew up around the water. That is correct. I am most comfortable around the water. That is correct. But part of the reason I love the water is because in my lifetime, I have never got into the water and had an elite physical specimen of an athlete trying to drag my ass under it. So I can't get into water polo because it genuinely, not sarcastically, not haha LOL, it genuinely scares the bleep out of me. It scares me. It's a terrifying sport. I do not understand how we don't lose thousands of water polo players to accidental drownings every single year. It's just a bunch of it. And by the way, you ever watch water polo and watch the underwater cams? It's violent, dude. You think Caitlin Clark's getting beat up? These dudes and dudettes are beating the ever-loving out of each other constantly. It terrifies me, bro. And oh, by the way, when the ball goes out of bounds or there's like a reset to the center of the pool after I assume goal, I think goal. Lonzo, do you get to rest? Do you get to relax? Do you take a breath? No, you still got to tread water in a pool you can't touch the bottom of. Hey, when I am in the water, there is a 99.9999999% chance that some sort of alcoholic beverage is in my hand in that moment. Maybe a nice frozen margarita, little strawberry daiquiri, bit of pina colada, maybe my all-time goat, a Bahama Mama. If I am in a body of water, there's a 99.999% chance that I am knocking back a booze. These cats get in the water and from whistle to whistle try to end each other's lives. And then when the ref on the side of the pool, tweet, blows that whistle, they still have to tread water and not be drinking booze in the pool. They just got to tread. You just got to hang out, which is, and this is true, I've done it, friggin' exhausting. And then when they're done treading water and the ref blows the whistle again, tweet, they go back to trying to murder each other. Football is not as aggressively violent as water polo. Hockey, a sport in which dudes carry long sticks and have razor sharp blades on their feet, is not as violent as water polo. I can't do it. It genuine, not funny, not ha-ha, not sarcastic. It genuinely is the only sport that I mean this, I'm terrified of. I've said before, we went a couple of months ago, the great one and I did. We went and looked up and down the list of Olympic Summer Games sports. and we said, if you went up against just 100 average guys, where do you think you would rank out of 100 average guys? Where do you think you'd rank if you did this sport, right? So I said archery. I grew up hunting and fishing. I honestly believe that I could go up against 100 dudes with a bow and arrow and check in the top 10. Golf top 20.
You would have enjoyed my morning. 2 deer, a possum, and a bat.
Yeah. I could do it. Rugby.
I didn't shoot them, by the way. I was avoiding them on the road.
Rugby. I have never played like honest competitive rugby, but a bunch of buddies of mine down in Okaloosa County had a rugby club, and I went out and practiced with them. So like, I know how to do the backwards twist and the drop kick and all that. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but against 100 regular dudes, I'm probably inside the top 15, 20 rugby players against not dudes who have played rugby. I'm talking if we go downtown, grab 100 dudes and put together teams, I'd probably be in the top 20, 15 rugby players that we collect.
I don't know about that. There are rugby clubs around here. Where would you be in the scrum?
I say again, I'm saying if you DQ'd guys who play rugby,
oh, okay.
just 100 regular
all right.
dudes who do not play rugby, I would be in the top 15, 10 rugby players. Okay? Sailing. I grew up on a boat. You could put me on a sailboat right now, and while I couldn't captain it, if I had somebody who knew how to sail that told me, hey, do this, do that, I'd be fine, right?
Why couldn't you captain it? How hard is it to captain a boat?
For the same reason that
you have to give out directions, you hoist the sail, all that stuff.
No, because if you put me on a sailboat, again, Bahama Mamas for all. So, all of that being said, every Olympic sport, okay? Every one of them, I'd be willing to try it. I'd be willing to try it. Artistic gymnastics, yeah. Give me that little ribbon on the stick. I bet you I could come up with a routine, all right? I'd be willing to try it.
Choose?
Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics.
Okay.
That's a banger, right? That's a good one.
It works, yeah.
Got a nice little beat to it, but it's not like overwhelming. There's no sport in the Summer Olympics that I would not be willing to try. Like regular, like marathon swimming. Obviously, if I go to 100 dudes downtown, 98 of them aren't finishing a swimming marathon race. Of the regular sports, I'd try everything with one notable exception, water polo. I have zero interest. I might be a prodigy. I might be a dude that has the greatest water polo player of all time living inside of him, and we will never know because I don't have the rocks to try it.
Not being that guy, but I do not picture you dropping into that half pipe or hitting a rail either. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
Beach life, you might have had some skateboarding in you. You might have.
I did skateboard in high school. That was, in fairness, 21 plus years ago. And I don't think I've been on a skateboard since I longboarded in college a little bit, right? Because the campus had hills on it. So you could bomb a hill on a longboard and get to class faster than in a car.
Yeah, our campus had hills on it too. And I did the same thing, but with like a small fiberglass.
Yeah. I longboarded a little bit in college, but since I graduated college, it has probably been, if I had to guess, it's been north of 17 years since I've been on a skateboard.
A skateboarding MMO had just popped up on my X feed. That's what made me
it's a fair one to bring up. But here's the thing. Right now, I would go down in the parking lot right now, get on a skateboard, and see if I could still ollie.
I was going to ask you if you could ollie. I never could do that.
I could ollie. Again, it's been 17 years since I did it. But like, if somebody rolled up right now with a skateboard and said, Rob, can you still do an ollie? I'm comfortable to go downstairs and try. I might eat it. I might make an ass of myself, but I'd try it.
Tim probably has a skateboard in his car. I'm just saying.
I'm wearing flip-flops today.
Okay. All right. Well, take them off. Do it barefooted.
The point is, I'd be willing to try it. I'd be willing to give it a shot just to see if I could still do it. I can tell you water polo is the only thing. I'd be like, yeah, let's go with a hard capital F. No, dude, absolutely not. All of that being said, I love the Olympics. I get into every one of these dumb sports. I'll be a huge canoe sprint guy when it's time. One of the sports that I absolutely eat up during the Winter Olympics is curling. It is. I become I don't even know what the word would be. A relentless curling fan. I love it. It is my favorite Winter Olympic sport. And coming up at 9:30 a.m., a man who has represented our country and won a gold medal for our country in curling, Matt Hamilton, is going to join us on the show. And it's an interview I've been running down for 3 years, and we finally have it. That's coming up at 9:30. Will Lowry joins us at 9 a.m. to talk some golf while he plays some golf. Rashad Beard, fingers crossed, theoretically going to show up at the end of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll let you know. The Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
There's an arcade shooter called Iron Meat.
Iron
Meat. Not like I've just met some iron. Meat as in, big strong man. Yes.
Do you know what game I fired up last night because it was still on my PC or on my Xbox? I was bored and wanted to see what I missed. Was the Rick and Morty game with the alien gun.
You never beat it?
No, I beat it, but apparently there's a bunch of stuff scattered throughout the game. So one of the things that I found was they put you as a scene, and you ever heard of the trolley problem? Okay, so the trolley problem is a philosophical exercise. You come across a train track, or you come across a trolley track. There's a trolley coming, and it's bearing down, and there's a junction on the track. If the train is left to follow the track, there are 5 people that are tied to it. It's going to hit those 5 people and kill all 5. There's a lever there that will divert the track. If you pull it, it will divert the train to another track, but there is one person tied to that track, and that person will die. So what do? Do you leave the track where it's going and let 5 people die, and that way you can later say it had nothing to do, or do you divert it, but you end up intentionally killing one person? You have to live with that. It's a philosophical thing.
Were the people on the track the Macaroni Brothers?
I'm not. No. Hilarious. Almost similar. In the game, they put you at the crux of the trolley problem. And in order to advance out of the level, you have to make the decision. You can either pull the lever and kill the one guy, whatever. Well, the people tied to the tracks are talking to you. And the one guy's like, "You're telling me you're going to pull the lever and kill me? You're going to kill." And the other 5 are like,
"By the way,
5 of us. It's 5 life for 1. So they get to where you have to make the decision. And I made the decision to pull the lever and kill the one guy and let the 5 live. So one of the guys, after I untie him, gets up and goes, "Thanks, man. Now I can get back to all those genocides I was committing."
By the way, I'm pretty sure that once you started talking about it, I'm pretty sure I did the same thing. I'm pretty sure. And it was just like,
oh, man. Now I can get back to all those genocides I was committing. I'm ready for college football. Now, if you follow this show, you know that I do, and I have. I talk about sports that are happening, okay? We got the NBA Finals, which we're going to talk about in the next segment. Next segment's got a little weight to it, a little length to it. So we'll get into NBA Finals game number 1 coming up in the next segment. But I am ready for some collegiate football to make its way back into my life. There's a couple of things out as of yesterday when the college football playoff put out its bowl season. The lineup for nearly every other bowl game outside of the CFP was announced yesterday, as was the date and time of the first 4 playoff games, the non-bye earning teams. We know those games will be December 20th and 21st. That is a Friday and a Saturday. There will be 1 game on December 20th at night. There will be 3 games on Saturday, December 21st at noon, 4 and 8 p.m. The noon game and the 4 p.m. game will be going up against a pair of NFL games. The early game will go up against Houston and Kansas City. The late game will go up against Pittsburgh and, Cleveland, Cincinnati, one of the other Ohio squads. But as far as the rest of the bowl game, there's a couple of interesting things that have happened as a direct result of the expanded playoffs. We know now that the first bowl game is December 14th. The final non-playoff bowl game is January 4th. The Camellia Bowl is the only FBS bowl game on the second Saturday in December. The game is set to be just a week after conference championship weekend and a week before the first round of the college football playoff. The first Saturday of bowl season in the past has typically featured multiple games. In 2023, the first day of bowl season featured 6 games, along with the FCS level Celebration Bowl. The Celebration Bowl is set for December 14th, as is the Army-Navy game. I am going to say that while I know there have been smaller level games that have taken place on the same day, shouldn't the Army-Navy game have its own day? Shouldn't the Academy game have its own day? Like, to me, it should. For all of the conversation that we've had about Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, Clemson, for all the conversation we've had about the greatest rivalries in college football, Army-Navy is the answer, okay? I think there are other games that feature schools and teams that genuinely dislike each other. I think there are other games that have an incredible rich tradition of history between two rivals. Army-Navy is the best rivalry game in college football, and it should absolutely have its own day. We know this year that New Year's Day will not have the New Year's Six. New Year's Day will only include playoff games this season. The Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, and Sugar Bowl were previously announced for Jan 1. There will be no other lower tier bowl games that day. New Year's Eve will feature 4 bowl games before the Fiesta Bowl, which is the first college football playoff quarterfinal game. So we will have, great one, a New Year's Eve playoff quarterfinal game, along with 4 other lower level bowl games. So we will have during the day 3 low level bowl games. At night, 1 college football playoff quarterfinal game. Then, as all of us except Lonzo embrace our inevitable
it's bound to happen.
Our unavoidable hangovers on New Year's Day, we will be treated on New Year's Day to 3 playoff games that day. The most hectic day of the bowl season, Saturday, December 28th, a day which will feature 8 bowl games over the course of 12 hours. We will kick off with the Fenway Pack Bowl at 11 a.m. We will conclude with the Independence Bowl at 9:15 that night. So the schedule shapes up this way. On the 14th of December, the Camellia Bowl at 9 p.m. 3 days later, the Boca Raton Bowl and the Frisco Bowl on December 17th. The next day, the LA Bowl on the 18th. The New Orleans Bowl on the 19th. 2 on the 20th, the Cure Bowl and the CFP first round college football playoff game. December 21st, as we mentioned, we'll have 3 CFP first round games. They will be the only bowl games that day. On the 23rd, the Myrtle Beach Bowl and the Potato Bowl. You think I'd Odie to come watch the Potato Bowl with me?
Absolutely. You'll have to explain the game to him because he doesn't get it.
We'll get him there. We'll win him over. The Hawaii Bowl, is on the 24th, Christmas Eve. December 26th, Detroit Bowl, Guaranteed Rate Bowl, and the 68 Ventures Bowl. Why would you not add one more number to your company name and make it hilarious? December 27th, the Armed Forces Bowl, the Birmingham Bowl, the Liberty Bowl, and the Las Vegas Bowl. December 28th is the busiest day. We have 8 bowl games that day. The Fenway, the Pinstripe, the New Mexico, the Pop-Tarts. Dude, I still to this day cannot believe, great one, that they straight up executed the Pop-Tart mascot during that game last year. One of the most ludicrous things I've ever seen in my life. They executed an anthropomorphic Pop-Tart live on our television screens. It was a sight to behold.
Is there going to be a different one this year?
I don't know. You can't bring that particular one back, right?
Yeah, because he did.
He got 8. They done cooked him up and ate him up right there on TV like some sort of existential horror movie. The Arizona Bowl, Military Bowl, Alamo Bowl, and Independence Bowl wrap up the 28th. On the 30th, the Music City Bowl. We have 5 games on New Year's Eve. The ReliaQuest, Sun, Citrus, and Texas Bowls. It will end with a 7:30 kick for the Fiesta Bowl. That is the first CFP quarterfinal. On New Year's Day, not 1, not 2, but 3 quarterfinals. They are at 1, 5, and 8:45 p.m., the Peach Rose and Sugar. The Gator Bowl on the 2nd, the First Responder, and, of course, America's favorite bowl game of all, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, will take place on Jan 3. Jan 4 is the Bahamas Bowl. The Orange Bowl is the College Football Playoff semifinal. That will be on January 9th. The Cotton Bowl is the other College Football Playoff semifinal. That will be on January 10th. And then on January 20th, we will crown our national champion for the 2024 college football playoff, college football season. Anything that jumps off the page, great one? Anything that jumps out other than I know, and it is inevitable that the fiancés gonna want to go to Charleston to spend New Year's Eve with the sister and brother-in-law. They are all gonna want to get up and do healthy stuff on Jan 1, and I'm gonna go, sorry, babe. I got a 7:30 kick on New Year's Eve, and I've got a 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock and 8:45 kick on Jan 1. We don't celebrate New Year's Day in the Rob Brown Show household anymore. There is only college football.
Wow. So you putting your foot down.
I mean, I'm going to be married. What's she going to do? Divorce me within 3 months because of football?
Well, probably not.
Probably. But you know what? I can live on the edge with probably not.
Yeah. There's also the thing that, this happens in the middle of the week, which is weird for work schedules, especially in January, because people don't usually have vacation days during that day. So you're going to have to work a little bit, then do that, then come back and work again.
What you talking about, Willis? You think I'm going to be here on New Year's Day?
No.
Oh, okay.
But New Year's Day is on Wednesday.
It is.
So we'll be back Thursday and Friday.
I'll deal with Thursday on Thursday.
Okay.
Bro.
I'm just saying, I think that needs to factor into your amount of celebration. That's
Listen, Thursday is a Thursday Rob problem, not a Tuesday night Rob problem.
I'll be celebrating being alive again for another year. That's what I'll be celebrating.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Be
And I will be celebrating with probably some Bahama Mamas. All right. I'm a big Bahama Mama guy. It's made its way back into my life, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, you've mentioned it many times this morning, which
I'm not gonna lie. I'm on a mini booze break.
Yeah.
Mini booze break.
Uh-huh.
And I gotta tell you, I can't wait to hit that. When I hit that 215 mark, we celebrating, dude.
I was going to
We're
say,
celebrating.
are you going to start shaking at some point during the day?
No,
when you
it's
got
not.
to-
It's not.
Okay. Well,
It's
I
not
mean,
that bad.
all right. I don't know.
It's not that bad. I'm just saying. It's also not. It's not Bahama Mama weather yet.
Look at the shirt you're wearing. It absolutely is on your mind.
No, this is a floral shirt. This is a shirt for like a mint julep. This is like my mint julep.
Andy
shirt.
Reid would love that shirt.
This is not. I don't think this is not.
Jerry,
This is not
Jimmy
Hawaiian.
Johnson. Jimmy
This
Johnson
is not
would love that
Hawaiian
shirt.
though. This is southern. This is southern springy.
It's a Hawaiian shirt.
It is not.
Anyone who looks at it will think it's a Hawaiian shirt.
No, they won't.
It's a style. Dude.
There's no orchids. There's no.
Why
no
does there have to
hibiscus.
be? Oh, come on.
Those are Hawaiian flowers. That's what a Hawaiian shirt is.
Wow.
Hawaiian shirt does
Wow.
not mean loud. It means
yeah,
Hawaiian.
It means that, whatever that is.
I'm going to defer to me in the fashion department
Wow.
for right now.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to defer to me.
I am. NBA Finals Game 1 in the books. Kristaps Porzingis made me look like a jackass last night. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You know what, guys? I'm going to defer to me on that. That's what I'm going to do.
I mean,
The most arrogant thing you've ever said.
no, it is absolutely not.
Yes, it is.
It is absolutely not. I mean, that's an extensive list, and that one is nowhere near the top. All right, guys, give me 35 seconds. I will be right back.
No.
Right now, you can save on Valvoline Restore and Protect, the only oil that restores and protects your engine to like factory clean. You can also save on brakes, tools, and more during the Father's Day sale. Dad-approved deals through June 16th. AutoZone Father's Day sale now through the 16th. Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the week. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7.
Meet Doug, the world's worst handyman. Rescue cute animals and take on various other odd jobs in World's Worst Handyman, an upcoming stealth comedy game.
Stealth comedy.
Okay, he just got a goldfish out of the toilet by busting the toilet and flooding the bathroom. Looks very interesting. Now his underwear is on fire. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's happened to the best of us. The Rob Brown Show. show continues. It is the fan upstate. The Aloha shirt, also referred to as a Hawaiian shirt, is a style of dress shirt originating in Hawaii. They are collared and buttoned dress shirts, usually short-sleeved and made from printed fabric. They are traditionally worn untucked, but can be worn tucked into the waist of trousers. They are worn casually or as informal business attire in Hawaii. Aloha Friday or Casual Friday, a now common tradition of celebrating the end of the work week by wearing more casual attire on Fridays, initially grew out of an effort to promote Aloha shirts. Aloha dress shirts are printed, mostly short-sleeved and collared. They almost always have buttons, sometimes for the entire length of the shirt, or at least up to the chest. They usually have a left chest pocket sewn in, often with the intention to assure the printed pattern remains continuous. Aloha shirts may be worn by men or women. Women's usually have a lower-cut V-neck style shirt. So, I am going to go at the most. This is going to be contested. Okay? And here's why.
Contested by who? Why does it matter if it's a Hawaiian shirt? I mean, why is this? Why is this a point of contention
because you stuck
between
me
us?
on a hill. Because you stuck me on a hill, and I am willing to die on hills.
Well, it's a volcano because it's Hawaiian.
I get it. It's a good joke.
Yeah. Okay.
Good joke.
Technically, still a hill though.
Traditional men's Hawaiian shirts are usually adorned with traditional Hawaiian quilt designs, tapa designs, and simple floral patterns in more muted colors. Contemporary Aloha shirts may have prints that do not feature any traditional Hawaiian quilt or floral designs, but instead may incorporate drinks, palm trees, surfboards, or other island tropical elements in a similar form as the traditional Aloha shirt. There's nothing tropical about this shirt. It's not
So
tropical.
all those flowers are
These are
indigenous
wildflowers.
to South Carolina.
Not South Carolina, but they are definitely mainland
where would
wildflowers.
they look tropical to me.
No, this one's a
You don't know. You don't know.
and that
You
one's
hesitated.
that one's a no, this one's it's the yellow one that grows on the side of the interstate.
Uh-huh.
It's not yellow on the shirt.
Yeah, which interstate? The one in Hawaii?
NBA Finals game number 1 took place last night.
Can I do something really quick?
Yeah,
I hate to do this, but Kristaps Porzingis, I'm sorry. Okay.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
Yeah, a couple days ago, I went off because you made a big deal about Kristaps coming back, and I'm like, what's he going to do? And then he came out last night and he did that. So I apologize. I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't your motivation for playing probably the best you've ever played in your entire life. But yeah, I apologize.
You and me and Diesel and Cole and Trista and Ryan and Nick and PJ and Cody Decker and pretty much everyone that I do have or will ever broadcast with all owe Kristaps Porzingis an apology. Because not only did I not think that Kristaps Porzingis was going to be not the, but even a factor last night, wrong on both counts, but I really did genuinely and legitimately think that Kristaps having to take some time to knock the rust off would be the reason that Dallas would at least cover 6.5, but might outright money line win that game last night. Instead, Kristaps Porzingis comes off the bench, goes 8 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 4 from the arc, knocks a couple down from the stripe, gets 20 points, 6 boards, and 3 blocks. Porzingis last night was a bro. I mean, was an absolute dude for Boston. Kristaps Porzingis was not just excellent on the offensive side of the boards, which, by the way, I changed my Twitter handle last night to pretend knower of ball because Porzingis made me look like such a jerk that I felt it only appropriate that I wear my shame for a couple of days, right? I'll change it back. But for a couple of days, I'm going to leave it right where it is. Lonzo, I don't know if this is premature. Nope, scratch that. I absolutely know it's premature.
Don't do that thing that's going to be happening across the sports world today.
The series is over.
Yeah, you're going to do that thing. Okay.
The series is over.
All right. Yeah.
Luka got 30. Kyrie caved under the pressure and did not respond. I watched that man dribble the ball off his foot twice last night.
He did do that.
Twice.
He did do that. He was probably under more pressure than anybody there. He'll get it together in game 2. I know that I can't say that I'm perfect anymore when talking about Kyrie and Dallas, but he always has that game. And if I recall, I think Mario predicted that Kyrie would have that game, and that's what he did. He had that game, and I think the moment was too big at first for everybody in Dallas, and Celtics as a whole, as a team, has more experience with being in the finals, and it's their home court. And we saw moments where a 30-point deficit was being erased. Dallas,
they got about down to 8 at one point.
Yeah, Dallas ain't done yet. Okay, they had a rough start. I think they'll be better in game 2. If the Celtics are going to win, they're not going to sweep it, and it's not going to be a gentleman's thing. It's 6 or 7 games.
I'm not calling a sweep. Let's be real clear. Dallas will get
okay,
one.
because you look like you're on the edge of calling a sweep.
No. Dallas will get one.
When
Dallas will get one at
when
home.
you say it's over, that's basically a sweep.
No. A gentleman sweep's absolutely on the table. A 5-game sweep's absolutely on the
gentleman sweep thing annoys me. I don't know why. Every time you say it, it just bothers me.
Why?
Because I don't get why that's that.
Because there's a sweep, and then there's the gentleman sweep of like, we shall allow you to depart with some dignity.
So it's saying, okay, we could have beat you in 4, but we're going to give you a game. That would bother me if I'm on a team and they're saying you got gentleman sweat.
Well, I think it's more of phraseology than it is like they gave you.
It's condescending is what it is. It's condescending to the team who lost. And in the end, they lost. But still, it's condescending.
They got friggin' hammered.
Well, last night.
They got hammered in game 1.
Okay, well, I mean, you can be like everybody else and think it's over. I don't.
Here's the problem. Daniel Gafford had 8 points. Derek Lively had 2. The team, the Dallas Mavericks. What have I been saying? In a moment of definitely knowing ball. What have I been saying for weeks now has been the thing that made the Dallas Mavericks the Dallas Mavericks. The combination of Gafford and Lively, right? Those the twin towers underneath, locking down big men defensively, has freed PJ Washington, Jones, and Doncic to be able to play a little bit more loose defense, to be able to play a little bit more freestyling defense, and to play the role of disruptors. Because even if you head out there to guard a guy on the three-point line, you go out there to step up into the face of Derek White and prevent Derek White from having a big day. If Derek White decides he's going to throw the pump fake, get you up, drive to the basket, okay, cool. At any given point in 48 minutes, I've got Gafford or Lively down there protecting the rim. If nothing else, mi amigo is going to have to pull up and launch a mid-ranger. And I will take a stop and pop mid-ranger from a driving power or shooting forward before I'm comfortable letting Derek White just drive past an exterior defender, go up against a 6'8" guy down there, and hit a layup. Last night, the Dallas Mavericks had 1 block. They had 9 assists. To put that into perspective, 1 block, 9 assists. The Mavericks had 9 blocks and 23 assists.
I saw a bunch of non-calls, and I also saw when Dallas got to the free throw line, they couldn't hit free throws. And
12 of 19.
Yeah, and their shots were not dropping. I mean, if I were a Dallas fan, which I'm not, but I am.
You are a little bit.
I'm a Luka fan for sure.
That's fair.
Because that's just me in the NBA. I'm a player guy. I'm not panicking. I don't know why anyone would.
Because if I asked you today, by the way, the Mavs shot 41.7% from the floor, 35 of 84, 7 of 27 for deep. That is good for 26%. The Celtics shot 47.6% from rain or from the floor, 38.1%, 16 of 42 from deep. If I asked you right now, great one, I won't even ask. I was going to ask you for 3. I'll ask you for 1. What went right for Dallas last night that you think they bring into game number 2 that sets them up to go back? Because if they go down 0-2, I do not see them coming back and winning this series at all. They've got to go 1-1 on the road to Beantown. So if I asked you to tell me the one thing that you took away from last night that makes you believe they can do that, emphasize it, and win game 2, that one thing is what?
Well, if I'm Jason Kidd, I'm pointing out the fact that they were down by so much and they were able to come back within 8. That would tell me, hey, I would tell them, hey, those shots that didn't drop, they drop. And on most nights they do. You're in this game or you win this game.
And I would make the argument.
Being down that much, which I think was NBA history.
29.
NBA history in the finals at that point, how far behind they were. And then they came back. Being down that much, it shows that you're good enough to hang with that team and that you can beat that team. Because that team did not put their foot on your throat. And they could have and Dallas could have gave up, and they didn't. Now, I didn't see the fourth quarter. Maybe they gave up in the fourth quarter. I doubt it.
They did. They pulled their guys with like 4.5 minutes left to play.
Okay.
They got cooked.
So they decided the game was over. But the thing is, you don't come back from that much and not show that you can hang with this team and possibly beat this team. I mean, they could have very easily, and other teams might have just folded at halftime. And they did not.
I think that you are taking the most silver lining outlook possible because, yes, they went from 29 back down to 8. Primarily against Boston's second string and primarily at a point where Boston...
Why I know you're going to make an excuse.
It's not an excuse. That's a fact.
It's an excuse.
Lonzo, if you go out and you're playing a pickup game against LeBron and then he checks out and puts in his 4-year-old kid and you come back against his kid, are you going to come and go, see, I proved I could hang?
That's an unrealistic analogy because the 4-year-old would also beat me.
Okay, I appreciate you being open and honest there. Beating a team's second string is less impressive than beating the starters of an NBA team. They're backups for a reason.
So that thing about the bench being important, I guess, is untrue then.
The bench is absolutely important in a game.
But only on other things, but not when. Okay.
In a game where you are going backups to be backups because depth comes into play, it does matter. But I'm going to look last night.
You're going to bet Boston the rest of the way. Boston's going to win.
I will. Depending on what the numbers look like, will determine if I'm taking money. I will take Boston money line both games in Dallas because I think those odds are likely to be a little bit more apt to bet the money line on. And I do think Boston is taking at the least 1 in Dallas. My question mark is, are they going to take 1 in Dallas and go up 3-1? Or are they going to take 1 in Dallas and equal 2-2?
You know what bothers me? All right. I believe, if I recall, you said Dallas in 6 or 7. So in order for Dallas to win in 6 or 7, what do they got to do, Rob? They got to lose some games, right? Right? So one game changed your mind when you already said they were going to lose games, but because they lost the first game, then you change your mind.
There is a huge difference between losing a game and getting your asses kicked. And last night they got their asses kicked. Not like a little, like a lot.
They did in the first quarter.
Like a lot.
And they didn't the rest of the game.
Yeah, they did the rest of the game.
No, they did not. You can't come back from that and be getting your booty kicked. You can't.
You absolutely can. If you are up against a Boston team that is taking its feet off of the gas, which they did, if you are up against a Boston team that has got Hauser playing 16, Pritchard playing 16, and was starting Al Horford, which they did, and you still get smoked, you got smoked. Boston did not win the first quarter by 17, win the first half by 22, and then all of the sudden just suck the second half. They took their feet off the gas.
6 or 7 without losing some games. I don't get how that changed.
Dude, if we're talking about a 107-106 game, you're exactly correct. We're talking about a 107-89 game, and Dallas got to 89 because late in that game, Boston just laid it down to get rested up for game 2. That's the only reason. We'll talk more about this game coming up later on in the broadcast. We got the water cooler cheat sheet coming up next. We have got Will Lowry coming on to talk golf with us at 9:30. U.S. Olympic curling team captain and gold medalist Matt Hamilton joins us. Both of those guys wish they were as good at what they do as the gold medalist of Sports Flashes, Lonzo is.
Nah, I'm just here so I don't get fined. The Braves prevented a losing streak with a 5-2 win. Wow. At Washington, Ronaldo Lopez surrendered 6 hits and 2 runs through 6 innings, striking out 7. The Braves scattered 7 hits across the game, including 4 of their 5 runs from a pair of home runs. Marcell Ozuna hit his 18th, and Adam Duvall recorded his 6th on the season. Commissioner Adam Silver said the NBA is looking towards further expansion, though no decision has been made yet. Silver said there's a high interest in expansion past 30 teams from both current and potential owners. The NBA hasn't expanded since 2004 when the Charlotte Hornets were added. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel will be on location, by the way. Get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And it's all Wire to Wire. I will fight till the end of the day. You can't win in 6 if you don't lose a couple.
Oh.
QC Kinetics is excited to offer newly approved injectables for those qualified. If your weight is keeping you from living your best life, call QC Kinetics now and learn more about these next generation weight loss options, including semaglutide and tirzepatide. Even if you're just looking to look better and feel better by getting back to your ideal weight, call the medical professionals at QC Kinetics to see if you qualify for these revolutionary and effective treatments. QC is making these amazing options accessible and affordable, and it starts with a free consultation. Call 833-QCK-SLIM to get yours today. Lose the weight now and finally give your aching joints a break. Call 833-QCK-SLIM. That's 833-QCK-SLIM. I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. I have asthma. I'm at risk too. If your money's been older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines,
Partner 20 may help provide added protection. Partner 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Partner 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Partner20.com.
The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CB Spartanburg.
Where's the stream chat? You guys are quiet today. Don't like it.
It's Friday. It's summer.
Don't care. Get in here.
I mean, come on. New life in the first break.
New life in the first break. Hey!
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey LaJoy. Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown radio program goes now. Welcome back, my friends. Hope you are having a lovely week thus far. Plenty to get to, plenty to talk about on the show today. The Boston Celtics with a win, an impressive win, a convincing win over the Dallas Mavericks last night. We're going to talk about that coming up here in just a moment from now. Efforting Rashad Beard, do not know if he's going to be able to make it today or not. If not, we'll get him back into the mix next Thursday. What we do know is that coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we will have Will Lowry joining the radio broadcast to talk some golf with us. Looking forward to talking with Will. We will also have coming up later on in the show, Olympic gold medalist Matt Hamilton joining the show. I do not need to tell you all that Matt Hamilton is America's greatest curler. So we'll talk some curling and some Olympics with Matt Hamilton coming up later on in the radio broadcast. We have got plenty more to get into, including listening to, and I don't know if I am enjoying it out of schadenfreude, if I'm a masochist, or if because I greatly understand it. But the Chicago White Sox
German?
TV crew is melting down. It is.
Okay. All right.
It is.
All right.
Schadenfreude is taking pleasure in the pain and suffering of others.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so I don't know if it is Schadenfreude or some sort of sympathy because I've been there and I've done that. So I understand. And sometimes you got to laugh through the pain. But the White Sox lost game number 14. It is the longest L streak in the history of a very proud organization. Ozzie Guillen and the White Sox TV crew are like full out melting down on the television. And I got two clips that made me laugh hysterically over the last 2 days. We're going to get into those and a whole lot more. But it is 7-0. Wait for it.
What?
Hold. 4 in the morning.
Well, it is somewhere like California. I wanted to, what is the English word for schadenfreude? And it's harm joy.
Harm joy.
Yeah, that's what it says.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, but it's hyphenated, so that makes it, more
I don't like that at
important,
all.
I
We're going to
guess.
stick with Schadenfreude. We'll see how that plays out. in a
I don't
minute.
know why you ain't speaking no English, because that's what people want to hear. There ain't no English word that says that.
Hey, you got to be to work in like 55 and a half minutes from right now, right? And I know how the day goes. The first handful of minutes, just absolute misery, especially on Casual Friday, on Aloha Shirt Friday. Am I right? So you're going to show up. You don't want to work. You don't want to be there. You want to ignore your responsibilities like an American and instead talk about sports. with Kathy, who works down the hall in accounts receivable. Kathy, love talking sports with Kathy. So when you get to work, pop off that one email to the boss who, for whatever reason, thinks that you were ever going to respond to it last night while you were watching NBA basketball. Let's be real. You weren't. I know you weren't. That's okay. Kathy wasn't going to either. She was also watching the NBA Finals. So go grab Kathy from accounts receivable, make your way on down the hallway, go somewhere the boss can't find you, and talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports, you need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, you're gonna need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying
Yeehaw!
even before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Let's face it, it worked better that way. It actually, yeah. I mean, you
tried your best. And
I'm actually, I think that fits better than because dude's letting you know what he's going to do and then he does it. I don't know. I'm trying to cover for missing it.
Yeehaw! It's the water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports later on this AM. Let us, my dudes and dudettes, dive right into item numero uno. Finally, the NBA Finals started. Finally, the Mavericks and the Celtics got on the hardwood to start playing basketball to determine this year's NBA World Champions. Is it because of hardwood?
He also said got on it was phrasing.
You know what you're doing right now. Now you're just making me want to work as many Beavis and Butthead caliber euphemisms as possible into the rest of the Game 1 breakdown.
So you didn't do that on purpose. Okay.
Calling it the hardwood.
No, but you said get on the. Now he realizes what he did. Look at him.
No, I know what I did. It's not my fault that you have a dirty mind, Alonzo.
No, I am just, it's not me. Feel free to continue. I'm sure you won't do that again.
Not at all. So, down on the baseline, Kristaps Porzingis was banging dudes. All right? Was just throwing the bows around.
I'm not doing it now. That's like requests.
I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot.
107-89 winners. The Boston Celtics take a 1-0 series lead in the NBA Finals. Listen, they just did whatever they wanted to the Dallas Mavericks. They took advantage of the Dallas Mavericks last night from start to finish.
They did make one mistake that almost cost them. They hurt Luka. Luka got back up, and then he started tearing it up.
Yeah.
And then they realized, let's not hit him again, because when we hit him, he gets stronger.
You won't like me when I'm shooting 12 of 26 and 4 of 12 from 3. Luka had an okay night, 30 points, 10 boards, but 1 assist and 2 steals, nowhere near the triple-double that they would have needed.
Yeah, but that's still a double-double, right?
It is a double-double.
Okay, all right.
Double-doubles, like, okay. All right, cool, I guess. Good job.
I'm sure there are a bunch of other players on the Dallas Mavericks team that did not have a double-double.
Jason Tatum had a double-double last night with 16 points and 11 boards for the C's. 22 points from Jaylen Brown, led all scorers, but he led the returning Kristaps Porzingis by just 2 points. Porzingis did not get the start They went with Al Horford, who ended up playing 30 minutes out of the game. Porzingis played just 21, but in that 21, he scored 20, grabbed 6 boards, and had 3 blocks. The Celtics as a whole had 9 blocks in this game. 9 is also the number of total assists that the Dallas Mavericks had. No, not just Luka. As a team, the Mavs had 9 assists. Listen, this game breaks down very easy. Dallas wins the series if and only if they are the disruptors. Last night, they got disrupted big time. Boston took every single thing that Dallas has been doing to get to the NBA Finals away from the Mavs. Yeah, we're going to let Luka get his 30. We know Luka is Luka. We know that we are not special in an ability to stop Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is a different breed of cat. So we know that cat is going to go out there and get his 30, and we're not going to stop him. You know what we can do? We can prevent Kyrie Irving from ever getting comfortable. 12 points, 6 of 19 from the floor, 0 of 5 from range, did not go to the stripe. They didn't need to send him to the stripe. Kyrie Irving last night was the disappointment for the Dallas Mavericks. I think there was some thought that Kyrie Irving was going to be the difference maker for Dallas, right? He gets to come back to Beantown, a place that there was quite a bit of drama when he left. He gets to play back in front of the C's fans, a group of fans that he has had no problem playing the role of antagonist to over the years. Kyrie was not ready. He was not ready for the environment. He was not ready for the heat, the pressure, or the game itself. He disappeared, and nobody else helped. PJ Washington went 0 of 3 from deep. The Mavs shot 7 of 27 from range. They had the same number of assists as Boston had blocks last night. Boston disrupted everything that Dallas wanted to do, and again, I'm not an artist who leans on the hot take. The series is over. One game in, this series is over, because if I asked you right now, what is it that you think Dallas can take away from game number 1 and bring into game number 2 to win? Because if they go 0-2 to start, they are not coming back. I know it's happened in these playoffs twice already. It will not happen in the NBA Finals. The only thing you got is, well, Rob, they were down 29 and they got it back down to single digits. Yeah, I know. And they did so against a Boston team that had taken their foot off the accelerator. And as soon as they got it to 8, as the old question goes, then what happened? Then Boston went, oh, damn, they're back. All right, well, let's go finish this. And then they came out and they made the lead 21 again, just like that. Boston took their foot off the accelerator, and the minute that Boston realized Dallas is a proud franchise and is not going anywhere, and they had come back into this game, Boston just went ahead and sunk the dagger. Dallas cannot do anything about that.
So this is it. You've changed your mind, and it's cemented. You will not, we'll say, flip back again if Dallas should come out and win the second game.
I mean, I will flip back in stating the truth if I feel like the truth becomes more evident. But as of today, you
can't win in 6 if you don't lose.
I don't. Do you not get the difference between losing and getting your ass handed to you? Because they got their asses handed to them.
How do you win in 6 without losing some games?
Again, do you not understand the difference in losing 107-106 versus getting it handed to you? They had one of the largest deficits in the history of the NBA Finals, and the only reason they clawed back to 8.
You said it's over, which means if it's not over, then you have to take your flip-flops off and work the rest of that show with no shoes on.
Define over. because
you said it was done. You did.
I think Dallas wins the game.
You said it's over, though. I mean, the series is over. That's
over.
what you said.
Dallas can't hang with this Boston team. This Boston team answered my questions last night.
Okay. All right.
This Dallas team answered my question. Boston is winning the NBA title. That's not a question mark.
Okay, that sounds pretty concrete. So that means you'll have to take off the moniker of knower of ball if Dallas wins, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. I will become
so on your tagline. It has to be used to be a knower of ball.
Former knower of ball.
There we go. That works. It's a lot quicker and more formal.
Item number 2. I know it's kind of hard to define dynasty, but I think if you want to define dynasty, you can point to the Oklahoma Sooners softball program. They have just won their 4th consecutive national championship on the diamond. An 8-4 win over their rivals, the Texas Longhorns, last night, handed the trophy over to the Boomer Sooners. The Sooners, across 6.5 innings of work, as they were the home team and did not bat in the bottom of the ninth, collected 12 hits on the game, just one of them a dinger after an explosion of home runs in game 1. Just one of them between both teams in game 2. It belonged to the Sooners. Maybe most impressive of all, across 6.5 frames. Now, that means they went to the dish 6 times. That means there were 18 at-bats. Out of 18 ABs, the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners struck out just twice. It's about as good as you could ask for. They went with Keeney off the hill to start. She went 2.2, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. After she departed, just 3 more hits were surrendered to the Longhorns last night. Texas had 7 hits in the game, no home runs. They K'd 6 times across their 21 ABs. What do you want? Oklahoma's real good at softball. Like it's a dynasty. They've won 4 in a row. The question is not, are they a dynasty? The question is, how long will they remain a dynasty? We'll talk more softball later in the show. Let's get to, very quickly, item number 3. We already talked a little bit of NBA here in the water cooler cheat sheet. Let's go back to one more story. I go back to one more story because yesterday, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver got behind a podium and talked a little basketball. And the thing that jumped out the most about Adam Silver's comments is that the league is very much looking towards expanding for the first time since 2004. It was in 2004 that Charlotte, North Carolina was handed an expansion team after the previous iteration of the Hornets departed, went down to New Orleans and became the Hornets. Charlotte got a squad. They got named the Bobcats. A couple of years later, the Hornets of New Orleans decided they didn't want to be the Hornets anymore. They changed their name. Charlotte went ahead and regained the Hornets moniker. That was the last time that the league has expanded. Adam Silver said, quote, "It's not preordained that we will expand this time, but I know there's an enormous amount of interest out there. And to me, yes, there are wealthy individuals and institutions that would like to invest and buy NBA teams. But I think it's on the league to look holistically because there is the dilution, of course." The dilution he was talking about was what he said was the number one concern about expanding the NBA, and that is the talent pool. Adam Silver said that expanding the talent pool is a concern for him. You are adding effectively 35 more positions of NBA player to the league, a league which is already worried about a lack of depth. He said, if we get into a spot where we dilute the talent pool so much that the quality of basketball goes down, that will lose us more than adding another team will gain us. I would not be shocked to find Seattle on the list of potential expansion cities down the line. Seattle's been working to get the Supersonics back for many, many years. And I almost kind of think this is a step towards appeasing those folks, because there are a lot of very wealthy people in Seattle, Washington that for years have been pushing to get the Sonics back. I think that'd be step number one. Adam Silver did mention that looking internationally, including potentially adding another team in Canada, is also very much on the list. So that's where we stand right now. When we come back in just a minute from right now, there's a hockey team coming to Salt Lake City, Utah, an NHL team that was formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes. As of right now, they are just the Utah Hockey Club. They have accepted from their fans, or soon-to-be fans, a list of 6 names that they could possibly go with. Lonzo and I will tell you our favorite, and then we'll play a little game about renaming sports franchises to more accurately reflect who and what they are. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, quick live reading. I'm coming right back. Stay right there. Everything hurts, and I feel bad.
One I read yesterday is not allowed in the building. The headquarters.
I believe it.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Our lives aren't like they used to be. They're busier. Early morning Zooms, grabbing coffee to make that in-office meeting, getting to your kid's soccer game on time. Life is different, and so is advertising. To reach any audience, you need your message out there in all media, broadcast with streaming, on screens, and right to the ears of your customers. That's what we do at Odyssey. Let's build a media
With Matt coming on at 9:30, how should we handle that since that's usually a break time?
Thought you had to figure it out. I'm curious about
We
that.
go to break at 9:12. We come back at 9:15. We go to break at 9:25. We come back at 9:30, and we just have a long final segment that is half interview, half X. Would that work?
Sure.
Okay.
I have 0x so far, but you know, actually I do have one thing. I'll find stuff. I want to find everything at the beginning anyway.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Odyssey.
There is a hockey team that is moving to Utah. They were formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes. They are on their way to Utah. They have been taken over by Smith Entertainment Group. And yesterday, they announced, great one, that they have 6 finalists for a nickname. I would like you to tell me which is your favorite. I am going to write down what I believe you are going to select, and then we will see if I am correct, pencils down.
Wow. Okay.
I will say it because it's also the one I picked.
I haven't heard any of these.
Okay.
By the way, I had no idea, so I can't wait.
All right. Here are the 6 potential nicknames for the new Utah Hockey Club. They are the Utah Hockey Club, the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Blizzard, the Utah Venom, the Utah Yeti, or the Utah Outlaws. Which are you going with, great one, if it is your decision to be made?
Yeah, I think it's obvious, and of course you wrote this down also. I'm going with the Yeti, of course. There it is. But they'll go with Outlaws.
I'm like Johnny Carson over here.
If they go with any of those names, they'll go with Outlaws. Probably. But they should go with the Yeti.
What was the name of Carson's character that did the envelopes? I'm blanking right now. Karnak.
Yes.
I'm not blanking. I did it. Karnak the Magnificent. I went full Karnak. That is because Yeti is the obvious answer of that list.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
The obvious answer. Here's the thing. Utah.
You also have a built-in sponsor. I mean, because you can get Yeti to sponsor. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that.
I don't dislike any of them. Okay. For the record, it's a pretty good list of 6. Venom doesn't really do anything for me. Not because I don't like the name. I just don't see how I ever think Utah and Venom. Like, I don't understand the connection. I know there's rattlesnakes there, but like, I don't think Utah, that's where rattlesnakes are. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. I think if you were going to play it that way, then you go with like Rattlers or something like that. I don't love Venom.
My daughter lived there for a while and used to video chat with her a bunch. And in the distance, I could picture Yeti back there. I'm just saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeti's the right answer. I like 5 of the 6. I don't love Venom. I love Yeti. I'm okay with Outlaws, but again, like Outlaws to me screams more Texas It screams more
True, but it's
Wild Wild West.
I know it's weird to say, but it's the safe pick.
It is a safe pick. Yeti is a bit kind of out there. I really don't hate, and I know that this is the one that y'all as a large are going to push back against. I really don't hate just being the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, that's no.
I know.
Yeah,
I am alone on that island.
You saw my eye roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
I know I am alone on the island of Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, let's just leave that for soccer.
I
okay?
don't hate the Blizzard. Okay, it's all right. Blizzard's fine. It's not. Again, it's not jumping off the page. Yeti jumps off the page. I think they go Outlaws. I don't disagree.
One thing about Blizzard, I mean, what would be your mascot? You could still go with the Yeti as a mascot if you went with Blizzard.
You still could go with the Yeti as a mascot. In fact, I think based on what we've seen, like Seattle went with the Kraken, but their mascot's like a troll kind of weird thing, right? There's a lot of teams that have picked a concept or a non-animal/person mascot, and then they come up with one, right? The Mets have a Mr. Met, and it's just a dude with a big baseball for a head, whatever. You can come up with something. Yeti's the right answer here, but I wanted to take this one step further. I am about to hand you, Rob Brown Show Armada, an infinite amount of power. You have the ability right now to change the name of any professional sports franchise. I am going to make one humble request in return for this infinite power. That one request is that you explain to me why you are changing the name to what you are changing it to. I'll give you a couple I was coming up with last night. I would like to change the name of the New York Yankees. Now, I know the Yankees have arguably the most recognizable name in all of American sports. As a whole, top to bottom, left to right, pick the sport of choice. I'd like to change the name of the Yankees to more reflect the good people of New York City, a city that, for the record, I very much love and adore. I can't wait to get back to New York City. It is one of my favorite places in the world. But I also have said many times that New York sports fans are obnoxious. They're obnoxious and they're entitled. So, great one. In homage to a growing popularity of naming sports teams after concepts or feelings or abstract thoughts as opposed to solid creatures, animals, whatever. I would like to change the name of the New York Yankees to the New York Arrogance. I think I'm going with the New York Arrogance. Please welcome to the field, your New York Arrogance.
Does that spell with a T or a C?
That's the fun part. I think you could pick, right? You could call them the Arrogance, as in a group of people that are arrogant, or you could call them the Arrogance with an NCE on the end, because that is the feeling that they evoke out of everyone else in America. I am renaming them the New York Arrogant, and I think I'm going to go with the the NCE. I think I'm going to go with the abstract thought there, that they are just the feeling of arrogance. But I think I'm going to lean on that. I was trying to come up with more, and I know we got to run to a break here, so we'll do this throughout the rest of the show. But I would like you, Rob Brown Show Armada, I would like you to rename a franchise, and I will allow you to include college athletic department of your choice. I know I'm taking a massive risk with that one. 844-326-3663. That is the number to the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air, FAN, F-A-N. Or tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You have the power to rename the sports franchise or school of your choice but you must provide me with your rationale for doing so. My first submission, the New York Yankees become the New York Arrogants. I want yours. We'll do a few more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Braves radio on Thursday's 5-2 win on the road at Washington. Marcell Ozun's National League leading 18th homer helped the Braves rally to the win. Austin Riley hit a go-ahead RBI single. Atlanta scored 3 runs in the 8th to rally for the victory. Adam Duvall homered in the 7th for the Braves, who had won 3-4. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. It's that time of morning when I-85 starts bogging down. Right now you see a sea of brake lights on 85 and your approach to Highway 14, and it'll be red past Cullen Road. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows northbound 85 at the Coast Block around Piedmont, and construction is due to start anytime 85 at 185. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center.
Wow, you had to reach for that one, didn't you?
Upstate.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Now we got to get someone to come on there and say something about taters, and then it's covered.
Taters.
Thank you for your participation, but I mean, come on, dude.
Some beverages know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry.
T-Swizzle.
That makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise in the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you. Not available in every state subject to terms and conditions.
All right, be our correspondent, Marcus. Who is the standout player for the U.S. cricket team? I'm curious. I've only watched bits and pieces of cricket. I've been hit with a cricket paddle by an All-American baseball player. It hurt really bad. I still have memories of it.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. I am giving you the opportunity to change the name of one professional sports franchise or the name of one college and or university. Whose name are you changing and what to? You may change your own if there's a name that you like better. You may change your rivals. If you do, be clever about it, okay? Don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna call them the losers because they lose. No. We're better than that, Armada. We're better than that. Be clever. What are you changing? I will give you one great one.
I'm waiting for you to throw out your Ohio State thing.
Oh, the old the Ohio State horse chestnuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the easy one. That's the easy one. You guys should absolutely change your name to the horse chestnuts. That's way more fun. That's way more fun than a Buckeye. I'm actually going to change one of my own team names. I am going to actually change one team name by changing another team name. You may already know where I'm going with this. If you don't, strap in. I am changing, despite the fact that it has grown on me tremendously. I am changing the name of the New Orleans Pelicans. The name's grown on me quite a lot. I hated it when it debuted, but the longer that they have been my beloved Pellies, the more I've jumped on board with calling the birds the birds. However, I would like to change the name. And I want to change the name by changing the name of the Utah Jazz. Utah earlier this week, dropped their new unis for next year. And they are going back to the Malone Stockton days in that they are debuting a pair of unis next year. Great one. One of them is midnight purple. The other is black. Both of them containing, remember when the Jazz used to have the old mountain range silhouette logo? They're going back to that. Which is why it is absolutely asinine that they maintain the Jazz moniker. I am going to suggest a new name for the Jazz. Lonzo, I'd like to refer to the Utah basketball team as the Peak. They are now the Utah Peak, P-E-A-K, for a couple of reasons. Number one, they lean very heavily on that mountain motif that they have had for a number of years. And I think it's a good one. All right. I think it's a great look. I think it fits Salt Lake City and Utah well, sitting right there in the base of the whatever the hell mountain range that is. Rockies, I guess. I don't know. I failed geography. Whatever mountains those are, I really genuinely, I'm not even being sarcastic, like that look for Utah. But if we're being legitimate.
Haven't you been out there before?
I have. I have been to Salt Lake City. You know what's not in Salt Lake City?
Mountains.
No, there is mountains there.
There mountains?
Yeah, there's mountains there.
Oh.
Yeah, there's mountains there. I'll tell you what's not in Salt Lake City. Jazz! There's no Jazz in Salt Lake City.
See, you're just offended because of New Orleans. I get it.
No.
I get it.
No. Listen.
So Jazz is in your heart, man.
Oh, it is for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a big Jazz. I don't know if you know this. This is a Jazz Fest happening downtown this weekend on Saturday night. The New Orleans Heritage Brass Band will be there. I already told the fiance I'm going. If you're coming with me, great. If you're not, I'll still be there.
We had this discussion because you told me about that particular band and how you used to really enjoy them.
I love them.
Yes.
They're amazing. Saturday night downtown, Greenville Jazz Fest. We'll be down there all day anyway. After I get off a bet for the cycle, we're heading straight down there, but I cannot wait for the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. I
like that Shane, by the way.
That's good too. I can accept that. So I want to change.
Shane said Utah Ascension.
Oh no, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that. I like that a lot. I would like to change the name of the Utah Jazz, and I was going to go with Utah Peak. I was going to go with Peak, P-E-A-K. I think it plays on two levels. Number one, they are the peak of the NBA. Number two, obviously, refers to the mountain motif that they have gone with next year's jerseys. I think Peak's a great name. Shane popped in with the Utah Ascension. I like that as well. I like an abstract name, the Greenville Liberty, the Indiana Fever. I like those types of names. So I like the Ascension. I'm going to stick with Peak. I like that one too. Either way, ain't no Jazz in Utah. It is the second least fitting name in all of basketball. And because I am changing the name of the Utah Jazz to the Utah Peak or the Utah Ascension, I am giving the name Jazz back to New Orleans. They will once again, as they used to be and should be again, they will return to their OG moniker of the New Orleans Jazz.
So we can't go with Utah Polygamist?
You can if you want.
Okay.
I just think that's the design scheme on the logo is going to be real interesting.
Silhouettes. I mean, multiple silhouettes.
If you will not give me the Jazz moniker back for New Orleans, then as much as Pelly's has grown on me, I would like to change the name, Lonzo. I'd like your thoughts on this as a non-New Orleanian. I'm a little biased to the New Orleans Crew. However, I'm spelling it K-R-E-W-E.
Okay, Columbus, I think.
They are the Crew, C-R-E-W.
Okay, all right.
New Orleans will be the Crew, K-R-E-W-E. and they will be KREWE because Mardi Gras parades are thrown by social clubs. Those social clubs are known as crews, but they are spelled KREWE.
All right, so just me, but spelling crew with a K, probably a bad move.
Why? It would be a bad move if your city name was also K.
Okay.
Right? Like if you had a 3K name, yeah, that's a big problem. But the NOLA crew, I think, would be dope. If you won't give me crew, then I'm going with brass.
Are you going to call them NOLA crew?
I would call them the NOLA crew, yes.
Okay, all right.
But I think either one of those, as much as Pelly's has grown on me, I think either one of those is a better name than Pelicans, even if the Pelican is the state bird of Louisiana, which it is. So, if I am giving you the opportunity to change the name of any one pro franchise or school, what pro franchise or school are you changing the name of, and why? And why? Texas says, change the name of the Spartanburgers to the Hub City Marshals. I'm going to say this. The folks that are not on board with the name Spartanburgers, they are riding for a rename.
It's still pretty fresh, man. I mean, that's fresh pain for some people.
I
still think it's funny what they did, but you know.
Here's my question for those of you that have been riding hard for marshals. Sincerely, and I'm not asking this like in a smart-ass way. I'm asking this sincerely. Why? Why? Because the whole, well, it plays to law enforcement. I'm like, all right, but I want it to be a representation of the city. Now, some of you are going to argue Spartanburgers isn't. I think it is. Every time I say Spartanburg, I get asked, have you been to? And there's like 2 or 3 restaurants there that are burger places that I have been asked about, right? So I think it's fine. Plus, it plays into the name of the city itself, whatever. There were a couple of other names I liked more Revolutionary War caliber names. They got shot down pretty quick.
Keegan says it has to do with the Marshall Tucker band. I don't know.
I don't like, I get it, but I also don't think like that's not, and I love Marshall Tucker Band. I heard it in a love song.
Don't you?
I love Marshall Tucker Band. I have seen Marshall Tucker Band in concert 5 times so far, and I'll go see him a 6th.
I don't know the dude's name, but the dude that plays the flute and everything else was amazing.
Absolutely. Love Marshall Tucker Band. But my thought is, I don't know if that resonates. I don't know if that resonates with not people who grew up as Marshall Tucker Band fans, right? And I don't know that you want to go, unless you are like Detroit and you have, bands. Like, with all due respect, I love Marshall Tucker Band. I've seen them a half dozen times in concert. It's not exactly like the Marshall Tucker Band is like a recognizable band outside of the area unless you grew up a fan of said band. So I don't know if that one works as well.
Again, you're playing with fire. What are you doing, man?
I just said I love the Marshall Tucker Band. I've seen them 5 or 6 times in concert. Twice in Pensacola when they came through. Big fan.
Yeah, but you threw a butt in there. I love them, but
I don't think it's a good name for a baseball team. The Marshalls doesn't do it for me. Like, that doesn't jump off the page at me. Texter said, rename the teams to give recognition to the people who most people know them for, aka the Brady's Bulls, the Jordan's Chiefs, the Swifties. He came at Lonzo guns fully loaded with those 3 names. Texter said, go with
wow, I'm so offended. I'm over here like crying and stuff.
The Swifties, the Kansas City Swifties.
They still be champs.
Kansas Swifties.
Still be champs.
Texter said the asterisk Michigan Skunk Bears, because to everyone outside of their deranged fans, they stink.
Still be kind of hard to say it if you had to say that a bunch.
Asterisk Michigan Skunk Bears. Texter said rename the Hornets the Bombers, because they always bomb. Bombers isn't a bad name. So I am from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, just outside of Destin, Pensacola, that area, right? And the school, the community college that I earned my Associate of Arts from when I was growing up was Okaloosa Walton Community College. Now it is known as Northwest Florida State College. They are the Raiders, the NWFSC Raiders. They are not the Raiders, however, because of the Oakland or Vegas Raiders. They are the Raiders because that school is built not but a couple of miles away from the range where the infamous Doolittle Raiders. You've heard of the Doolittle Raiders, the World War II era bombing crew that actually flew a bombing raid on Japan itself?
Has nothing to do with doctors. Okay.
Correct. The Doolittle Raiders were led by James H. Doolittle. They actually flew a carrier bombing mission into Japan to prove to Japan, yeah, we can get you now. We got you now. They named the Raiders after Jimmy Doolittle and his Raider bombing crew. That is a name that I think accomplishes two things. It pays homage to a massive part of the local history in that area, but it also utilizes a name that stands out, that jumps out. Yeah, I know Raiders is owned by a lot of clubs, but it's a name that catches attention. And I think if you're going to go with something, you got to go something in that direction. Texter says, I want the hockey club to go with the Salt Lake City Outlaws. Okay, it's not awful. It's not awful.
If you throw in the Salt Lake City thing in there, it does sound better.
I don't hate Salt Lake City Outlaws.
Yeah, it kind of flows.
It's better than the Utah Outlaws. Because I hear Utah, I don't think Outlaws. At least with Salt Lake City, there's like some image of like an old Western town, and Outlaws kind of fits with that. Texas said, if you're going to rename the Spartanburgers, go with the Hub City Shiners or Spartanburg Moonshiners in reference to the NASCAR history. I'm actually good with that. I'm actually good with that. I'm actually good with the Shiners. I like Shiners. It's not bad. Texter said, I was one of those hate the name, that is stupid people before I realized that the league is full of teams who name their team something silly or wild. You should check out some of the names of the other teams and see how Spartanburgers are truly not the worst. That's from Wyatt. Wyatt, appreciate that text. That's minor league baseball, right? I told y'all this when we were building up to that name change, that it is minor league baseball. More likely than not, they are going to go with something that jumps off the page in order to get attention. And as Lonzo pointed out, the very next day, within 24 hours, they had Greg Olson tweeting about it. They had, who was the other guy? They had like multiple nationally recognized people tweeting about it.
I don't remember, but I know it's a big name. And also the fact that there's, as far as we can tell, only one Spartanburg in the entire United States.
That's all we've been able to find. So it fits, right? And on top of all of that, they sold merch in like 42 states in like a week, right? Within like a week, they had sold merch to 42 states or something silly like that. That's why they went with that. But you are correct. There are honestly worse names out there. Whose name, professional franchise or school, are you changing if I handed you the unlimited power to do so? Whose name are you changing and why? I am changing the Jazz. They are becoming the Peak. I am changing the Pelicans. They are becoming the Jazz or the Brass or the Crew. I am changing the New York Yankees to become the New York Arrogance. I think Arrogance is a very fitting name for that team. Who else are you changing? What are you changing it to and why? Coming up in the next hour of the show, I have got 3 things that I want to knock out. I would like to knock out a Stanley Cup Game 1 and Series preview. I would like to knock out a college baseball super regional preview. That includes, obviously, Clemson taking on Florida this weekend. I will tell you what it is that Clemson must do, and more importantly, what they cannot do if they want to escape the super regional and make a return to Omaha. And I would like to go back and revisit game number 1 of the NBA World Championship Finals. Boston with a 1-0 lead now over the Dallas Mavericks after a dub last night. We will address those 3 things in hour 2. At 9 o'clock, Will Lowry is a golf personality and broadcaster that I am a big fan of. He will join us on the show. At 9:30, U.S. Olympic gold medalist curler Matt Hamilton will join the show. We'll talk with both of them about the BMW Pro-Am and their respective sports choice. And we will do that when we come back. That is all after Lonzo, who does not need a new name because it's like Madonna, Cher, Taylor, Lonzo.
Also Bono. I mean, if you're into U2. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is in the books, and Boston Celtics hold a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Mavericks after a 107-89 win. Jaylen Brown led Boston with 22 points, and the returning Kristaps Porzingis recorded 20 points off the bench in his first game in over a month. The Celtics had 9 blocks and held the Mavericks to just 1 assist in the game. The Braves prevented a losing streak with a 5-2 win at Washington. Ronaldo Lopez surrendered 6 hits and 2 runs through 6 innings, striking out 7. The Braves scattered 7 hits across the game, including 4 of their 5 runs from a pair of home runs from Marcell Ozuna and Adam Duvall. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest in local sports, and it's all Wire to Wire.
So I went to Sea Shanty night last night. I'll even give them the shout out, 13 Stripes Brewery, which is a phenomenally cool little brewery right across the street from Pinky's Revenge in the same little complex. So I went to Sea Shanty night last night. And when I went to Sea Shanty night, I began I began by singing a couple of songs, but it turns out it was being run by a group of people. They were very encouraging. They were very cool, but a group of people that, like, this is what they do. They get together and they sing sea shanties. Like, that's their hobby. And they were good, dude. Like, you know what they sounded like? They sounded very similar to when you have a fully loaded crew on Assassin's Creed Black Flag, like the same sound. And so I did one or two right when I got there because there was like 14 or 15 people, but then a handful more showed up. They had like 30 guys and gals singing these things, and they were so good that it got to the point that is like, I would rather listen than participate. Here we go. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown radio program is underway, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Yes, the fan upstate, the great one, Lonzo, is with us. I am Rob Brown. Spectacular to have you joining the program today. Multiple ways to get in touch with us over the course of this hour because we are going to be booked up in the next hour of the show. So if you want to get on the air, you got to do it in this hour. 844-326-3663. That is the number to call into the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. That is 844-FANFONE. You can text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the show. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one, Lonzo, at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet everybody up in here at The Fan Upstate if you want to go about it in that direction. 3 things I'd like to get to in this hour of the show. I'd like to do a recap of last night's Game 1 in the NBA Finals. I would like to do a preview of the college baseball super regional featuring Clemson and Florida. And I would like to get to a Stanley Cup preview. Give me your thoughts on Lord Stanley's Cup finals, which start tomorrow between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid trying to grab him a Stanley Cup trophy. So we'll get to all 3 of those things. Let's start by reevaluating last night's game number 1 in the NBA Finals. Couple of things. Number 1. Damn, Kristaps Porzingis, you just gonna do us all up dirty like that. Okay. My dude comes back after missing a month and some change of basketball. Bro has not played since the early portion of the opening series against the Miami Heat. Now, it's worked out well for Beantown because, as has been pointed out 1,000 times so far, Jimmy Butler was unavailable for the Miami Heat. Donovan Mitchell got hurt in the series against Cleveland, and Tyrese Halliburton got hurt in the series against Indiana. So Boston really hasn't had to be full strength. And by the way, I thought about this back in the first hour when we talked about this game. Everybody, myself included, so that we are clear, everybody has been busting up on Beantown because they went up against Miami without Butler. They went up against Cleveland without Mitchell. They went up against Indiana without Halliburton. And nobody, great one, gave them credit for winning all 3 series without Kristaps Porzingis, who is a massive part of what that Boston offense looks like, as was put on display last night. They won those series, granted against teams that did not have their best players, without one of their best players. And nobody gave them credit for that. In retrospect, maybe we should have. In retrospect, maybe we should have responded every time that somebody, me, said, no Jimmy Buckets, no Donovan Mitchell, no Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe the comeback should have been, yeah, but no Porzingis either. No Tingus Dingus either. They didn't have their big man. They went with 96-year-old Al Horford, who has been playing professional basketball since I was in nappies. Like, goodness gracious, maybe Boston should have got some credit. Let's talk about the game itself. Porzingis did everybody dirty because I think that a majority of us, I'm not going to say everybody, but everybody, thought that there was going to be some ring rust on Kristaps Porzingis. It was going to take Kristaps Porzingis some time. It was going to take him a little while to get comfortable back in the rotation. It was going to take him a little while to get back on the same page with Tatum and Brown and White and whoever else was on the floor with him. Turns out it didn't. It didn't at all. In fact, if you are the Dallas Mavericks,
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Kristaps Porzingis was good from the get. And that opened the floor up for everybody else. That opened up the floor for Jaylen Brown to get 22. Let's tell you this. If they go out there and are capable of beating the ever-loving out of the Mavericks like they did in game number 1, and they are capable of beating the ever-loving out of the Mavericks like they did in game 1 on a night where Jason Tatum goes 6 of 16 for a total of 16 points, I don't see how Dallas gets back in this. Because you can lean on, well, Kyrie had a bad night, and Kyrie is due for one of those Kyrie games. And that might be true. But if Kyrie adds, what's a fair number? He had 12 last night. Let's say he adds, I don't know, hell, let's say he adds 20. Let's say he adds 20. Let's say he gets to 32 in game number 2. Number 1, how many of those 32 are coming off of Luka Doncic's total? And if the answer is 0, if Kyrie can add 20 and get to 32, do you not think that Jason Tatum, who scored 16 last night, can add 20 and get to 36? Now, I asked the great one earlier this morning, and I will ask those of you in the Armada that are listening so far this AM, what did Dallas do in game number 1 of this series that you go, okay, they did this really well, and if they can focus on this in game number 2, then the mistakes go away and they'll come back? Because I'm going to be straight up with you. I got nothing. They were down, yes, 28 points, 29 points, actually. They were down 29 points. And yes, they made a pretty stellar comeback to end up within single digits in the third period of that game. But as the old expression goes, then what happened? See, because in my opinion, they came back down from 29 and made that a game, not because they suddenly figured it out. They came back down from 29 and made it a single-digit game because Boston took the metaphorical foot off of the proverbial gas pedal. I think Boston just slowed they roll. They went, all right, in the bag. We got them down a historic margin of points in an NBA Finals. We're good. And I think they slowed up just a little bit. When Dallas got it back down to a single-digit lead, as I said, then what happened? What happened was Boston went, oh, all right. And they cranked the throttle back up to full afterburner. And what had come down to a 8-point deficit went right back up to 18. Right back up to 18. Boston won this game 107-89. Boston could have won this game 120-89. Boston could have won this game 120-80 if they wanted to. Honestly, this could have been a 40-point blowout. But the Mavs pulled their starters with like 4 minutes left to play, and Beantown that pulled theirs at the same time. So the last 4 minutes of this contest was effectively reserves on reserves last night. If Boston wanted to, they could have won this game by north of 30 points. But there's no need to. Because a 107-106 win is worth the same number as a 107-40 win. It's one game. It's one game out of 4 you got to win. So I think Boston went to the bench a little bit earlier. Jason Kidd obviously pulled Luka and Kyrie off the floor. No sense getting them banged up when you know now your back is against the wall. And yes, they are only down a game, but Dallas's back is against the wall already. If I asked you, Rob Brown Show Armada, 844-326-3663 or text 71307 and start your text with FAN, F-A-M. If I asked you to identify the thing that you look at Dallas from game one and go, they'll climb back into this, what would that thing be? What would that thing be? Because I got nothing. They had 9 assists. They were not moving the ball well in the face of a very good Boston defense. Probably, I'm not going to say definitely, because Minnesota's defense is also very good, but probably the best defense that the Dallas Mavericks have faced, at least in the postseason. Dallas couldn't move the ball for anything. Luka had Jaylen Brown picking his pocket multiple times throughout the night last night. I don't know what to lean on here. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are supposed to be 48 minutes of hell for anybody who wants their points to come from the paint. Daniel Gafford played 14 minutes. Derek Lively played 18 minutes. Why? Because Boston ran out to a 17-point lead at the end of the first quarter, because they ran out to a 21-point lead at the half, and because Dallas couldn't score the rock. And so they ended up having to go with a more offense-oriented lineup. That's a problem. Dallas got here because Luka is very good, because Kyrie has been playing supplemental ball. But if you've been listening to this show during these playoff runs, I have said over and over to you, the Dallas Mavericks are here because Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are going to combine for 48 minutes, which means there are very few precious seconds where they don't have a defensive player underneath the rim. Last night, those two guys played for 14 minutes and for 18 minutes. Now, I'm bad at math, but that works out to not a lot of minutes, or at least not the minutes you would have expected. I expect one of those guys to have something to the tune of 28 minutes and one of those guys to have to the tune of 20 minutes, not 14 and 18. That's not it. But because they ended up in such a big hole last night, they had to go with an offensive lineup, and Boston ate them alive. So, what does Dallas do in game 2? I will tell you, as somebody who, for at least 4 hours a day, likes to think that he knows ball, the answer to me is, and I mean this, I'm going to put this as eloquently as possible. I don't know. That. I don't know. I've got to find a way to keep my 7-foot rim protectors in there. I've got to find a way to get Kyrie Irving involved. But they tried to get Kyrie Irving involved last night. He couldn't get it done. And listen, I don't know how much of that had to do. Zoe, did you notice that every time Kyrie touched the ball, the boos from the Celtics fans were audible over JJ Redick?
Yeah, I don't think that bothers players as much as people think.
I'd like to think it doesn't. I'd like to give him credit.
I put everything in a wrestling perspective. It's still a pop. And that means they still care about you one way or another. If there's nothing, if you go there and there's nothing, I think that's more harmful. If they pretend like he's nothing.
It's
acknowledging the devil is what it's doing.
You know that I very heavily subscribe to the everything is wrestling mentality. Everything is wrestling. Everything in your life is wrestling. This is one of the few spots I'm actually going to disagree. I am going to disagree. I think it is different.
Wait. You're disagreeing with me?
I know.
That never happens.
I know.
You're such a contrarian.
And I'm shocked to do it. I am going to disagree. Wrestling pops are good because it means that there is an emotional response. And a wrestler is not judged in terms of all-time success exclusively on wins and losses and title reigns. Right? There have been plenty of legendary wrestlers who were never champion. But we don't judge wrestlers based on the number of days that they held a belt. We judge wrestlers based on how they made us feel. We judge NBA players based on what they do on the floor.
I see what you're saying, but at the same time, you just made my point. They're judged about how they make us feel. So that the audience in Boston, they're still hurt over Kyrie, and so they're booing.
I agree, but that doesn't impact that doesn't mean anything.
And then Kyrie said in the post game that he thought they'd be louder.
Like, okay, way to antagonize the fans of the team that just kicked your ass, dude.
Yeah, okay. But if you're the heel, that's what you say.
Yeah, but
I thought they'd be louder. So if he comes out, when is it, Sunday, and they're louder, you look at the crowd, you smile, you go out there and actually have a good game and shut them up.
No, you do that in game one when you beat them on their floor and give your team a series lead. You don't save this up to play the bad guy. I genuinely think that the pressure of returning to Boston broke Kyrie last night. I
don't.
I think he got broke.
I don't. I said early on that they'd win in 6. You got to lose a couple in order for it to get to 6. I'm not worried. I am not going to change my mind about it. I still believe Dallas wins this series. Last night did nothing to change my mind. Kyrie had a bad game. I still say there are a bunch of guys. The majority of the guys on Dallas have no playoff experience to this level, whereas Boston does. They were there a couple years ago. A lot of those guys were there that are still there. They're in Boston, home team. You're going to get some of that. I just think they came out slow. They came out a little dead, and they started picking it back up. But it was they couldn't. It was an insurmountable amount of points. They still got it within 8. It was reachable. They didn't get it done, but it's just one game. It's just one game. Don't book Cancun yet. Rob would have you book in Cancun. Rob would have you in Cancun by Wednesday. Don't do that yet.
I think that you are justifiably looking for the absolute most optimistic way to view this game. And I think
so you're looking the opposite?
No, I think I'm looking at the most realistic version of this game. I think you're looking at climbing out of a 29-point hole to get it down to 8, but you were ignoring the fact that it got to 8 and then immediately went back to 21. Like immediately. Like as soon as it got to 8, Boston went, all right, you guys aren't going to quit. Like we wanted you to, we were going to let you chip away and make it a respectable scoreline. But since you're not going to quit, then we'll come back and we'll finish this thing. and the lead went 29-8, and then 8 back to 21.
So this is going to be a sweep because that's the way you're talking. You're saying that they were playing with their food. So this is going to be a sweep.
No.
Dallas doesn't want to. That's what you just said. No. I mean,
wait, when did I say that?
You absolutely just said that.
When did I say it?
Oh,
it's a sweep.
Here's what you said. Oh, so now they're taking it serious. So we're just going to have to show them, which means
game one, the game we're talking
with
about.
Food. I mean, I don't know how your emphasis and my emphasis does anything. It's one game, dude. One game. I'm not going to flop after one game in a possible 7-game series.
That I will be comfortable saying
when Seattle is up 3-0, then I give up. But until that, I'm not.
Seattle goes up 3-0. I'm going to be shocked in this series.
All right, the Celtics. I'm sorry.
If Seattle goes up 3-0, we'll all be having our minds blown.
All right, make a big deal about my mistake and your next one.
I blow up my own mistakes. No, I never said sweep or anything to the contrary. In fact, quite the opposite. I said gentleman's sweep. I think Dallas will get one. I think Dallas will get one at home. I think Dallas will be amped up to play a game at home.
2 days ago, you said it was going to be a 6-game series and Dallas was going to win.
Absolutely did. And then I watched them play a game. And then I realized that everything that I thought Dallas would do and everything that Dallas has done, they failed to do last night. And I don't see a way that gets fixed immediately.
By the way, in my defense, I've had Seattle on the brain because when he's talking about names, I kept thinking Seattle snot, but I never said it, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I don't know why. It's green uniforms. There's just so many places that my head is going right now.
Well, that's not funny, but I believe you knows that already. Hey-o! That was dumb. Super Regional Preview, Clemson, Florida, when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You're live.
All right, guys, one more live, and we're coming back. Stay right there, please, and thank you.
have to break down and go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the
Still
doctor.
falling apart?
Yeah, I hate to say this, and I appreciate your help yesterday. I went home and went to bed because I am still not well.
Try to survive the weekend, do it next week.
That's my plan. And hope that maybe I get better over the weekend. It could happen.
Just sleep the whole time.
Well, I can't. If there's no rain on Sunday, I have to cut the grass. It's like a foot high now because I've been too sick or it's rained.
Yeah.
By the way, I am not joking. It is a foot high, probably higher in some places. Good job, Wesley. It's that point where it's just that slightly itchy cough where it's just, you just want to just go ahead and cough.
Yup.
I hate that. Of course, I'm sure there's no one that enjoys it.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say, play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
So all this stuff I'm seeing about Dabo and Jeopardy, was that recent?
I haven't seen anything about that. Yesterday evening, I had the pleasure of sitting in on one of the most illustrious radio programs in all of America, Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel. And we talked a little baseball, a little Clemson v. Florida on the radio broadcast. And C Money, Cole Bryson.
Wait. Are you calling him that or is he calling himself
No,
that?
I call him that.
Okay, because if he's calling himself that, I might have a problem with that.
No, C Money, Cole Bryson, one half of Wire to Wire.
I mean, he has a lot of jobs. That doesn't necessarily mean money. You know that.
Boy, howdy do I. He said, Rob Brown, what's the most important thing that Clemson needs to do to win the regional? The super regional against the Florida Gators. And my answer was, honestly, don't freak out, dude. Like, just relax. And here's why.
Ow.
Oh, man. That's how I feel about the good morning clip.
Yeah, but that doesn't cause you pain like that does to me.
It does.
Especially right now when I believe I have double ear infections.
Okay, that might be worse.
It's just,
I'll take it back. That might be worse. So here's what I mean by that. The head coach of the Florida Gators, and by the way, a guy that, from what I am told, is on the priority list to potentially become the new South Carolina baseball coach, although I don't think he leaves. Apparently, there's some folks over there in Columbia that are very interested in him. Kevin O'Sullivan. Kevin O'Sullivan has been at the University of Florida for as long as Al Horford has been in the National Basketball Association. And I actually, now that I say that, I actually don't think that's that much of a joke. He's been there for like a long damn time. Kevin O'Sullivan is a guy that, because I broadcasted in Florida for many years, have covered with regularity over the course of my career. He has been with Florida since he left Clemson in 2007 when he jumped over to 2008. That is about the time that a young and enthusiastic and dumb Rob Brown started his broadcasting career. I can tell you one thing about Kevin O'Sullivan. Kevin O'Sullivan is a master when it comes to keeping the emotions of his team where they need to be. He is a guy that can be at times quite fiery. He's a guy that at times has a wonderful calming effect on his team. Now, I do remember that I told you all a couple of weeks ago when the regionals were announced that I did not think that the Florida Gators should have been selected to play in a regional. And for the record, I still feel that way. Yeah, I know they played in a very good Southeastern Conference. They were one game over 500. Much like it does in college basketball, or at least has and should, the regular season results should matter. But I would point out that en route to that 28-27 record that Florida carried into the regional, of that 28, there were some good wins. Like, some real good wins. It's a good baseball team. They have got Caglignone. I'm real bad at that name. Jackie C, who is arguably the best college baseball player in the game. This dude does a little bit of everything. He is a consensus first-team All-American. He's an absolute masher at the dish, and when he takes to the bump, he's a guy that can work inside to outside with 3 different pitches. He's very good. What I would say here is when you have talent, and Florida does have talent, for the record, I do not think that they have the depth of talent that Clemson does. I told Cole yesterday, this is a series provided that Clemson does not get emotionally spent and blow it. This is a super regional. Clemson can win on talent alone. This is a super regional that Clemson can win just because they are the better baseball program top to bottom. I think that you do need to pitch well. I do not think you can have a letdown game off the bump because Florida will score runs. I think that in a season in which Clemson has won playing from behind 25 times. Of course, earlier this week on Monday, we had John Blau from the Post and Courier on the show. John leaned on that. The cardiac cats, man, they love to play from behind and win games. That is fine. That will come back to bite you on the behind. Can't do it against Florida. Florida can consistently score, and if they get a rhythm with the bats going, you will not be able to play from behind against this team. Clemson's got to come out. They got to put points on the board early. And more importantly, if Florida stays in the back pocket, if this turns into a series where, let's say in game 1, you put out your ace and Florida goes out there and you put up 4 runs in the first half or the home half of the first, and then Florida matches you in the away half of the second. You cannot let that get into your head. You have got to play it run by run, frame by frame. Because this team in Florida, Kevin O'Sullivan does not let his team melt down. Sometimes they just get beat because they're not a great baseball team. But they do not get beat because you overwhelm them, because you make their heads explode, because you throw stuff at them they've never seen before. Kevin O'Sullivan keeps his boys dialed in. This game is very, very simple for me. Pitch well, score runs, and when Florida threatens you, and they will, keep the mentality locked in. You do that, Florida is good enough, Clemson is good enough to just out-talent the Gators. Give me Clemson to win the Super Regional, but give it to me in 3 games we will be playing on Monday. Back after this to talk Stanley Cup and maybe make fun of a couple of Chicago White Sox announcers when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I sent you 2 things on Twitter. One of them is a video. One of them I'm not sure is accurate, but probably is.
Not accurate, but sure it is.
National League leading 18th homer helped the Braves rally to the win. Austin Riley hit a go-ahead RBI single. Atlanta scored 3 runs in the 8th to rally for the victory. Adam Duvall homered in the 7th for the Braves, who won 3 of 4. College baseball regionals get underway this weekend. Tonight, North Carolina, the number 14 in the nation, battles West Virginia. Number 10, NC State series with number 7, Georgia tomorrow. Number 6, Clemson, and the Florida Gators battle in Game 1 tomorrow afternoon. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash of the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows southbound.
Did you look at stuff? Did you look at
I'm
stuff?
about to.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Downtown Greenville is still this slow between Rutherford and North Church, and there are signs road work is starting up northbound 85 at 185. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training.
Panthers quarterback Bryce Young has a summer job helping put a... Oh, I actually, that's part of one of the YouTube videos they put out, and it was kind of fun to watch him do it.
Easier to do when you're closer to the tire size.
I have done that before. Okay, you're being very rude today.
Am I?
Yes.
I mean, it was probably a little more difficult for you because you're taller.
Being very rude.
No, you have to bend down pretty good. Am I wrong? Don't you have to bend down pretty good to move those tires?
No, you're not wrong. It's still rude.
What about the other thing?
44 dropped passes in a season is...
And still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards that's true because there are a lot of drop passes.
Dove doesn't put stuff out like that just for the lulz. So I would not be shocked if that is accurate.
Panthers are somewhere in the middle.
Panthers are right in the middle with 28, same as the Jets. You know what I would be really interested in, though?
How many passes were actually caught?
Nope.
Because I'm wondering what the percentage of drops are.
What percentage?
But you'd have to know how many were
balls.
caught. How many were caught compared to how many were lost? I mean, dropped to get the percentage, right?
I would want to do it based on number of catchable balls.
That's kind of, a perspective thing, isn't it? I mean, because each receiver, one guy, there's no way that guy could catch that. And then another guy, you're like, yeah, that guy should have caught that because he catches stuff like that. There are guys out there who can't catch the easy ball, but if it's like over their head and way behind them, they can catch it.
Yep. All right, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but we are locked up in the next hour of the show because we have two guests coming on. Straight up, 9 o'clock, top of the hour, Will Lowry is a online golf personality. He's got himself a website. He does blogs and stuff on YouTube. And he's just a young, cool guy that is very dedicated to growing the game of golf. And you know I am as well. So very excited to talk to Will Lowry at 9 a.m. And then an Olympic gold medalist who won the curling gold medal without a broken freaking neck. Matt Hamilton joins the show coming up at 9:30. Looking forward to those conversations, but it also means we're booked up. So let's have a little goof off fun here on the radio show. The Chicago White Sox, ladies and gentlemen, are, and as an expert, I have looked this up to do the research. Bad. They're real bad at baseballing. They're a bad baseball club. They are 15-48. To put that into perspective, that is 9 fewer wins than the LA Angels have. And you'll remember they have played half their season to date without Mike Trout. That is 10 fewer wins than the soon-to-be not Oakland Athletics have. That is 6 fewer wins than the Marlins have. That is 7 fewer wins than the Colorado Rockies have. The Chicago White Sox are what I would affectionately refer to as a dumpster fire. They're sucks, basically. Well, there are a couple of young fellas up there in Chicago, Illinois, that host the pre- and post-game show for a very proud Chicago White Sox franchise. One of those cats is former Chicago White Sox manager Ozzie Guillet. The second of those folks is a broadcaster by the name of Chuck Garland. Chuck and Ozzie host the post-game show for the White Sox. And right now, they are having a real struggle of it. We're going to take just a second to revel in their pain. Let us begin with Chuck. See, because after the game last night, where the White Sox lost again, their 14th consecutive L, an L streak that is now the longest L streak in the history of the franchise. They lost one. They lost 4 in a row. They beat Toronto. Then they lost 4 to Baltimore, 3 to Toronto, 3 to Milwaukee, 2 to Chicago, the Cubbies, and last night dropped a 14-2 decision against the Boston Red Sox. After the game was over, they went to the Chicago White Sox postgame show. And what you'll see with a lot of postgame shows is the game will end and the play-by-play announcer will go, "Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Chicago White Sox baseball. I'm Rob Brown here with Alonzo. We'll be back with you tomorrow when the White Sox play host to the Boston Red Sox one more time. Now let's kick it back over to Chuck and Ozzie in the studio." And then they'll go to Chuck. And Chuck would say, "Hey, everybody, welcome in Chicago White Sox postgame. Just about to go here on whatever network we're on. Let's have some fun." And then they'll do like an intro and maybe a sponsor read or whatever. Instead, when they toss to Chuck, Chuck said,
The losing post-game shows are always the most entertaining. We guarantee you this will be more entertaining than the game you just watched. That is coming up next.
you know, I called Lonzo back into the fortress of nerditude before the show, and I said, yo, can I run with this clip? And Lonzo said, yeah, why couldn't you? He said, then the game that you just watched. And I said, he did say that. He sure did. He said the game that you just watched. And it was indeed, if you are a White Sox fan, a game. I guess it's real bad. In fairness, Chuck got on Twitter after that game, or excuse me, after the post-game show, because Chuck was understandably having himself an evening on Twitter last night. See, because Chuck had a bunch of people up in the ats. He had the White Sox fans that went, sure was, Chuck, that was a game. As in, no one should talk about it, right? And definitely not anything else. And then he had a bunch of people that were going, you shouldn't talk like that on TV. You're better than that, Chuck. And Chuck said, hey, listen, I wasn't trying to say that the White Sox are. I wasn't trying to say they played like. I wasn't trying to say the manager is, and the players are, and the games are, and the ownership is, and the stadium is, and the fans are. No, what happened was I was going to say the post-game show, but then I had show in my head and I had game in my head, and I just got a little trapped up in what I was trying to say, which as a broadcaster, yes, happens all the time, literally daily.
By the way, I just want to point out how I set this whole thing up. I think it was last segment or the segment before when I said Seattle, when I obviously meant Dallas.
Yeah.
Just to show how that could happen. And there's proof, you know, broadcasters, sometimes you slip, but what you always try to have is a reasonable excuse for your mistake.
My dude said that, you know what?
The losing post-game shows are always the most entertaining. We guarantee you this will be more entertaining than the game you just watched. That is coming up next.
So what Chuck's explanation was, I really want some like background trumpet music. What his explanation was that he was going to he's going to say more entertaining than the game that you just watched. This is very lounge singer introduction, isn't it?
I did it on purpose. I mean,
I don't hate it.
You want it. I mean, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rob Brown Show. And now, here's Rob. I don't hate it.
You wanted some horns, and I figured you were going cheesy. Why not go cheesy?
I like it. You think we could talk the boss into letting us change the intro to a lounge singer intro like this one?
No, Rob. We're a rock and roll show. I mean, come on, dude.
Bruh. So what Chuck said last night?
Oh, participation on the Rob Brown Show. Go home with the Rob Brown Home Edition.
Kelly says that after 15 years, she's still a Boston. Nope, sorry. Kelly says after 15 years, she's still a Chicago White Sox fan. Kelly, here's what you've won. A nice big bag of.
I'm waiting for the word whoopee to be, you know, not talking about the person. Where is the blankest place that you've made whoopee?
We asked 100 people what the worst team in baseball is. 100 people said the Chicago White Sox. All right, that's enough of that. That's good. Because I got to get to Ozzy, too. Chuck said, what I meant to say was, then the game that you just watched, but I was also getting ready to introduce the post-game show, so I started to say, then the show, but I meant to say game, and unfortunately, the got out.
There's
All
a
right.
reason why boat is used on this show.
That is correct.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes things, you think you said something and maybe you didn't.
Sometimes you screw up and you say stupid boat. It happens to all of us. Okay. But in case you wondered, like, oh, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it's not a studio full of Chicago White Sox fans and former players and coaches and whatever that are all having a complete, entire, total meltdown. Maybe it was an honest to goodness mistake. Well, Ozzie Guillet, former Major League Baseball legend, former Chicago White Sox manager, he said,
Hawk picked the right time. So I swear to God, Hawk, he was so smart in baseball. He picked the right time to say, see you.
He gone.
I love it. You know what I mean? Like, because I know how much you'll be suffering right now.
Oh, could you imagine him on the call? Well,
no.
he probably wouldn't have said anything.
I see you tomorrow. No, it's just like, no, because, okay, people have to understand. Okay, we just not a pre-game, post-game analyst or whatever. Unfortunately, I'm a White Sox fan. I am. Everything I have in my life, my kids' career, everything I have is because of the White Sox. I earn it. I earn every second.
But your blood.
Yeah, but they give me the opportunity and all the stuff. I'm a White Sox fan. Unfortunately, I am. And when I say stuff, I get upset, I get happy, whatever it is, it just, that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They hurt the team, obviously. I'm not going to say they know what hurt the player, Pedro. That hurt to myself, too. And it's a funny thing about I can pay to get hurt. Some people pay to get hurt.
I'm getting paid to get hurt.
All right. Here's what I think he's doing. He's trying to save Chuck's job because the other guy was Chuck, right?
Yes.
Yes. I think he's trying to save Chuck's job by taking it on him. I think he's being a true teammate and saying, I'll one up you so they won't look at you as much and save your job.
I think that if you're a Chicago White Sox fan right now, you hate everything. Okay? If the White Sox are your team, you know, there's some people that like, oh, I'm a Braves fan, but I'm also a Falcons fan or a Hawks fan, or I'm a this fan or that fan, and they can kind of spread their fandom. But there's a lot of baseball fans who are only baseball fans. They're just a baseball fan. They're a fan of team whatever. If you are a White Sox fan right now, everything sucks. Your team sucks. Your coach sucks. Your organization sucks. Your owner clearly could not give less of a, and there's nothing you can do to make it better. So Ozzie Guillen says, everything I have is because of the White Sox. I am a fan. And he's right. He's right. He said, I'm getting paid to do this, but I'm not just a studio host, a pre- and post-game host. I'm a fan, and I'm getting paid to get hurt. That comes shortly after my man Chuck Garlian says, what a game, everybody.
I just realized I don't have any whip sounds. I don't know. I need to get some of those.
It would have been a great moment for it, for sure.
Yeah, it would have worked. Yes. If we pre-plan the show like a lot of other people do, I mean,
yeah, but then we'd have to like
you lose spontaneity, you lose you
have
don't
to do
want
meetings.
Yeah, there's that. Who wants to do that?
We'd have to get on a schedule. Ugh. Hey, speaking of schedule, coming up here in about 5 minutes, Will Lowry is a golf personality online, works with NBA Sports, also has his own company. He does podcasts and blogs and social media grams. My dude is helping to grow the game of golf. I would like to introduce you to Will Lowry if you don't already know him, because I think you are going to love the guy. I do. Can't wait to talk to Will. And then at 8:30, Olympic gold medalist Matt Hamilton will join us here on the show. All that in the next hour. Did I say the gold medalist of Sports Flashes already this morning?
I believe you did.
Oh,
yes.
Damn.
You can win more than one gold medal.
A two-time gold medalist of Sports Flashes is Lonzo.
I've got like a piece of paper. I don't get trophies. So anyway, the Braves, speaking of trophies, prevented a losing streak with a 5-2 win at Washington. Ronaldo Lopez surrendered 6 hits and 2 runs through 6 innings, striking out 7. The Braves scattered 7 hits across the game, including 4 of their 5 runs from a pair of home runs. Marcell Ozuna hit his 18th, and Adam Duvall recorded his 6th on the season. First time I read that right the entire day. I'm so happy with myself. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is in the books, and the Boston Celtics hold a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Mavericks after a 107-89 win. Jaylen Brown led Boston with 22 points, and the returning Kristaps Porzingis recorded 20 points off the bench in his first game in over a month. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. And it's all Wire to Wire. Yeah, that was laughable, James. It was. But he did what he wanted to do, and he got people riled up, which is what his job is, like him or not. The thing that he's good at, he's really good at it.
When a problem comes along, you must whip it. My lead singer had the idea one time to learn that song, but to then actually have a whip and crack the whip for the song.
Like what they did for the video?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then we all decided that probably not a great idea at the bars we play
in. For what reason, though?
Jägermeister.
Okay. All right. I mean, when you say
I
that.
understand there was another meeting there
didn't you
that
say,
could have made it worse. I get it now. Yep.
I mean, those are places you never told me about you playing. Yeah. Because then I would ask you what kind of chaps you were wearing.
Florida man arrested for smacking officer with Stanley Cup after breaking into church. Okay. Not the actual Stanley Cup.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, well, was the Stanley Cup in the church, or did he bring it with him?
He broke into a church with a sledgehammer, causing over $10,000 in damage. As the responding officer approached him, he said, "I'm going to bleep you up." And then he started to walk away, at which point the officer pulled out his taser and told him to get on the ground and start walking away. According to the affidavit, the man took a seat before bouncing back up and walking aggressively towards the second officer, trying to strike him in the head with a Stanley Cup replica. The officer was able to dodge the cup, but it still hit him in the shoulder, according to records.
Okay, so again, was the Stanley Cup replica in the church, or did dude have a sledgehammer, break into the church, and then take the Stanley Cup replica with him? I mean, that's an important
detail.
These are the
big questions.
I want to know. Or did he use the Stanley Cup replica as the sledgehammer?
Florida man's colon explodes after coughing and sneezing at the same time in a diner, causing his intestines to fall out of his body.
Don't do that to me. No, that has me worried. Guest calling us, right?
Supposed to be.
Okay. Oh no, look at what's on the ground. No.
I'm going to read it on air.
That's gross.
I'm gonna read it on the air. I cannot bear the burden of the knowledge of the story that I just read and not take you all down with me.
I'm going to quote my granddaughter here and say, bro.
Bro.
For
the record, that's exactly what I said when I read this story. Reports. A man was eating breakfast with his wife when a cough and a sneeze at the same time left him with a freak injury. A 63-year-old man eating at a diner in South Florida both coughed and sneezed at the same time. The man said that he then experienced a wet sensation followed by a sharp pain. When he lifted his shirt, he saw several inches of bowel were sticking out of a recent surgical wound from an abdominal surgery that he had had. Apparently, my dude sneezed and then coughed at the same time. A surgical scar that he had on his belly ruptured open, and a large portion of his intestines came out of his body. That's a thing that I know happened, and now it's a thing that you all know happened as well.
So many questions. What was he eating? Was the diner full? And what happened after that?
I mean,
did you see those scenes in movies where people just suddenly everyone's throwing up? How does that not happen?
His wife apparently immediately called 911 and requested an ambulance. Yeah, his guts were on the outside, which is, and this is true, I was not a biology major, but I'm relatively sure your guts are supposed to be on the inside.
I have a legitimate question. So did the table next to them, did they immediately order chitlins?
Honey, I think I could go for some liver and onions right now. Oh, dude, that's awful. That's awful. I experienced a wet sensation. Yeah, your guts are hanging out, big dog. You may want to not be here anymore.
I mean, what do you do to help? I mean, you can't. I don't know. Do you try to shove them? What do you do? Do you say check please and get out of there? I mean, what do you do?
I'm
talking about as a bystander. If you see that happen,
leave.
That's what Rob Brown would do.
I mean,
I don't think any of us know, because this is definitely a new experience for all of us. What we would do in this situation.
I was taught years ago by Mr. Rogers to be a helper. Okay, if something's going wrong, be a helper. And
so you're grabbing salad tongs and you're going over there and lending a hand.
I was taught by Mr. Rogers to be a helper. And I like to think that more often than not, when things have gone not according to plan around me, that I have stepped up to be a helper, to fill in an emergency as needed, whether that is to stay out of the way, to get other people out of the way, to get involved, whatever. And there's been situations, I'm the dude that if I see a car crash, I will stop my car to get out. Are you okay? Is anything broken? Are you hurt? Can I call you an ambulance? Whatever. I try to be that guy. I am going to go ahead and tell you that I have watched enough Game of Thrones. I have watched enough high fantasy people being cut open by swords and being disemboweled to recognize that I think I'd pretty much be worthless in that spot, I don't. Can somebody help? My husband's guts are hanging outside of his tum-tum. Can anybody help? I think I would have to go, no, ma'am. No. No one can help you right now. Doctors are the only people that can help you right now. I got nothing on this.
I mean, he looked down and said, did it not hurt? Because it's
oh yeah, he said he had a sensation of wetness followed by an immense sharp pain.
Okay, all right. I would think it would hurt a little more than that, but I mean, I don't want to know, but I would think it would hurt a little more than that. I
got nothing, dude. I got nothing. That headline came up. We, every morning we get a little radio prep sheet, and it's a sports radio prep sheet. So it's got like a bunch of sound on it that you can pull clips from, and a bunch of write-ups from the games from the night before, and all the different sports stories so that you can kind of build your show out around it. Like the story, TNT could lose its NBA rights to NBC and ESPN and Amazon, but still keep airing inside the NBA. Wonderful. We get some good stories that we can then integrate into our show prep for the day, and it's greatly appreciated. But when I read the headline, and of course they have to open it. Listen, y'all know I'm down for a good Florida man.
I was going to
story.
say, it's at Florida element, so immediately you're drawn to it. I get it.
Anytime.
Just like when I see Ohio man,
yeah.
I'm going right for it, because we also know that disclosure laws, you're going to get a good story probably.
Anytime that an article begins with Florida man, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I just thought of a segment. You may or may not want to do it. Ohio man versus Florida man.
I don't know if I have the guts to do it.
I know someone who definitely didn't.
If I see a good Florida man story, Florida man blank, 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 blanks at blank, 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 I'm clicking that 99 out of 100 times. And as Lazo's pointed out, in Florida, we have what are called sunshine laws. Sunshine laws, not entirely, but by and large, if something happens in Florida that is responded to by any sort of government agency, the documentation of that event are public. I used to work in the media. One of the things I had to do when I was a television reporter was, when I got into the TV studio in the morning before we drew our assignments, one of the things that I had to do as part of my daily responsibilities was call the sheriff's office and request all of the arrest records from the day before, and then flip through them and just find the wild stories. And every now and then, yep, you get one. You get one that you read it and you go, yeah, hey, boss, I know that there is a massive government cover-up happening in local government that you want us on today, and I appreciate that. But I got an arrest record last night from a Florida man who was arrested for keeping 917 venomous snakes in his house. Obviously, I have to cover that first.
I'm trying to think if I'm going to use this tomorrow night or not, because I am curious how if this happened in an Irish pub, how it would be handled. I legitimately want to know that answer, so I might bring it up again tomorrow night.
They go, get my guy a whiskey because he very clearly needs it. In fact, just pour it right in the hole.
I mean, imagine if you're in this guy's situation and your intestines are out for everyone to see. I think initially your first instinct would be to grab them, wouldn't it? And try to put them back, or you just stare at them till the ambulance gets there.
I am
and then the ambulance driver walks in and goes, nope, not me.
I am a fan of history. I watch a ton of documentaries on history. I was watching one this morning when Lonzo came in on Jack the Ripper. All right. I'm fascinated by history. And World War II is a particular emphasis of mine. Yesterday, of course, being the 80th anniversary of the storming of the beaches of Normandy and D-Day. I watched a bunch of D-Day documentaries yesterday. And there are some documentaries out there that really do get into the hell that is war. And one of the things that I have heard anytime that there is like a medic that tells their story, or a guy that was in a foxhole that took a direct artillery shell or whatever, I have heard a number of times, I can't tell you how many, not like thousands, but like a number of times, stories about my buddy got ripped open and his guts were out and he just started trying to cram them back in. Apparently that's like the natural reaction is to just try to restuff the turkey. Just get it back in there. I would like to go with the more me-centric aspect of this. Shocking, I know. I have had 2 or 3 times over the last handful of years spots where I have sneezed and hurt myself. I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of you guys have dealt with this, right? You sneeze and like your back hurts, or your shoulder, you pull a shoulder muscle. I had one about 3 weeks ago where I laid down to bed to get a lovely night's rest. And as I was drifting off into a sound slumber, I felt a sneeze oncoming. Not the end of the world, right? That is a natural body function. We all sneeze. And I sneezed, and I felt something in my back just go and pop. And I was in redonkulous amounts of pain. I could not go to sleep. I could not. It hurt too bad. I literally went. I took the hottest shower of my life. I came back. I put a heating pad on it. I rubbed some, what's Shaq stuff? Icy hot on it, right? Because if it's good enough for Shaq, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm allergic to that stuff. I can't.
I love it. So I went back and I did all these things. I did all of these things and couldn't sleep. I'm going to tell you right freaking now, I will take 1,000 back pulls over I sneezed and coughed so hard that my guts fell out. That's rough, dude. That's right. That's a rough situation to deal with. I thought I had it bad. I don't have it that bad.
I'm just guessing. I'm hoping dude has full recovery, but if he ever goes back there, whatever he ordered that day, don't order that again.
Dude, like...
Would you go back?
What do you do if
it's your favorite restaurant of all time? Are you so embarrassed? I mean, it's not like you spilled something and they had to clean it up. You've actually spilled your guts. Literally spilled your guts. I mean, I've
gotten to the point in my life where it's real tough to embarrass me, right? Like, I don't have a kid, but I've gotten to the dad stage of I went last night to a bar and sang sea shanties by myself. I don't get embarrassed anymore. I've lost the ability to be embarrassed, and it's great. It's a wonderful part of my life. Like the last year or two when I've really got to that part have been absolutely spectacular. So I don't think I would be like, I can't come back to this restaurant because people have seen my insides level of embarrassed. Here's my question. The hell you do if you're the waiter? What do you do if you're the server in that situation? Sir, you forgot to tip, sir. Ma'am, you forgot to pay your check.
Yeah, what's even worse is the guy who has to, or girl who has to go out and clean that up.
I got to imagine you're shutting that restaurant down for the day, right?
You still got to clean it. Someone's still got to clean it up. Yeah,
because you
would have to.
You've got to shut that restaurant down to bring in the guy in the hazmat suit to clean up the gut juice off the floor. Because you know there's gut juice on the floor.
Unless it's like a truck driver place. Then you're good. Because they're just like, yeah, whatever.
Bertha, get the Lysol! Bring the mop, the bucket, and the Lysol. Get the orange smelling stuff. That's the good one. For the record, since we're kind of at a spot where, we got a little bleed over with our brother show in the afternoons, Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel. They've got a promo going right now where Cole Bryson argues in favor of gas station food and Diesel argues against gas station food.
I guess Diesel's never been to QT because I've never ate anything there, but it all looks good.
I have. Their little taquitos, fire, mad fire. I will also tell you that the best fried chicken and the best boudin of all time all come from a gas station off an exit 3 highways before you get onto the 3 Mile Bridge across Lake Pontchartrain outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. Every time I drive there, I stop at the same gas station because they have the best fried chicken and the best boudin I've ever had in my damn life.
What the heck is boudin?
It is like kind of a Cajun sausage, but it's like you take everything that's left over after you make the sausage, you grind it down, you put it with rice and seasonings and Cajun spices, and then you put it in a sausage tube, and it's one of the most delicious things you'll ever put in your mouth.
I guess don't waste any part of the animal.
That's pretty much it, man.
Okay, all right.
That's pretty much it. It is a Cajun sausage that is the remains of the meat processing. It is a rice. Usually there'll be veggies, like you'll chop up the Trinity, bell peppers, onions, celery, drop that in there, and then put it into a pork casing.
By the way,
it's delightful.
I'm not a member of the cult, but I will say that Buc-ee's is also a gas station.
It is.
I'll
tell you right now.
I hear the banana pudding's really good. I did look at it. I wasn't hungry at the time, but
Buc-ee's barbecue, pretty legit for gas station barbecue. Point of all of this is don't sneeze and cough at the same time. You might quite literally explode. All right, we'll come back. We'll have a real short segment. Try to see if we can find Will Lowry. He was expected to call in at 9, did not hear from him. So fingers crossed we'll have Matt Hamilton joining us at 9:30 on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Why does it not count, Shane? It's a gas station, dude. If it's not a gas station, what is it? It's a gas station with other stuff.
Meteorologist Jennifer Buczynski on the Fan Upstate. Currently it's 75.
And now, the Daily Sports.
All right, guys, got to handle a quick phone call. Be right back. I am having an issue right now because there's all these great novelty shirts that I really want to buy, but these companies are starting to charge like $45 for them, and I'm like, I can't spend $45 on a t-shirt.
I just want to say a lot of those you can go find at Walmart for like $8.
Yeah.
Half the stuff I'm wearing, I find at Walmart for $8. And I know that if I rip it or if I ruin it,
You're out $8.
yeah. And don't just go to one Walmart. Go to several different ones because they have different selections.
I just found on Instagram a shirt that has Beavis and Butthead in the Boondock Saints double guns position, and I really want to buy it, but it's like $46, and I'm like, oh man. Also, I have to acknowledge that like a good chunk of this is obviously wedding saving, and then I'm going to go back to indiscriminately and irresponsibly spending money when I get all that.
Hey man, good for
done
you.
For
Good for you.
No, it's not. I hate it.
Saving for the future is overrated because who knows if we're going to make it there. Might as well enjoy the,
Can't take
the
it
moment.
with you.
Enjoy the moment.
Yeah, that's it, Joey B. If that shirt I knew was good, if that t-shirt was going to last me a handful of years, I'd be a lot more likely to spend
I
money
will
on it.
say this shirt that I'm wearing here is over a decade old. If you go buy at a big and tall place like DXL, the material they use, I don't know what it is, but you may pay $40 for a t-shirt
Right.
like I did this and a couple other shirts, but a decade. So Hot Topic, probably not the place you need to go. Although you can fit the stuff at Hot Topic now. Congratulations.
All right, fingers crossed that we're going to have Matt Hamilton on the show. We have got our buddy Roy Boy down at the course trying to track him down for us, and right now they're having a little hard time finding Matt Hamilton. So fingers crossed we'll get Matt Hamilton. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, if we miss Matt this year, the third year in a row with 2 different events annually he's coming down for, if I miss Matt Hamilton again today, I'm going to be legitimately, it will ruin my day. Not like, haha, funny, Rob. He's a curling guy. I mean, legitimately, if we miss an Olympic gold medalist in my favorite winter game sports, curling, after legitimately 3 years of trying twice a year to get him, I am going to be super bummed.
Were they able to get all the golf in with the amount of rain we've had in the area? So
As far as I know, yes.
okay, so there's no chance that maybe they're just trying to catch up on things and change tee times around or
No,
something?
as far as I know, everybody got their full 18 in yesterday. And by the way, Brian Bumgarner, who I did get to talk to yesterday on Wire to Wire.
I was wondering because
Yeah.
I saw a video posted and I was wondering if you had to talk to him.
I said to him, I told him the story. For those of you that missed it yesterday, Brian Bumgarner, who of course played Kevin Malone in The Office, came on Wire to Wire. And Diesel and Cole were kind enough to let me chat with him. And I told him the story. I said, last year, man, like, you were supposed to come on the video. You missed it. No big deal. No worries. But you told me that if I brought you a brewski, that you'd meet me on the first to knock back a brewski before you played your 18. I said, I came over. What you did not tell me was that you were starting on 10. And I went to 1. And he goes, was it Thornblade? And I said, yeah. He goes, 10 is right next to 1, right? And I went, yes, Brian, I do. But also, it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I was walking around with 4 cold Miller Lights looking to shotgun them on the tee box of a golf course that I wasn't playing. And he went, all right, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You would have missed me. So
what you're saying is you drank them all yourself.
Oh, hell yeah, I bought them.
Okay.
What else was I going to do with them? The only other person that I would have looked out last year, he's not here this year, is if I would have found Ken Griffey Jr. I'd have been like, yo, Ken, do you want to split a couple of brewskis here yesterday? So, missed that.
According to Chris Lewis, sounds familiar. They blew the horn late yesterday, 6-ish. We had to leave the course and not sure if they finished yesterday or had to finish today.
So, Chris, I'm assuming it was over at Thornblade. Diesel and Cole were at Carolina Country Club.
Yeah, but Thornblade's the day for them, I believe.
I thought it was half and half. I thought they all played half one day.
No, what I mean is I know they were.
Oh, you mean Colin Diesel?
Yeah, they're going to the other half.
Yes, correct. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go over there this afternoon too. Why not? Why not? Got the credential. Might as well use it. So anyway, we'll see if we can get Matt Hamilton in here. Roy's out there trying to hunt him down right now. Said he's having a hard time getting in touch with him. So fingers crossed we get Matt on the show because, again, my dude comes in town every year for this event. He comes in town every year for a curling event with the curling club that operates up out of the pavilion. Great people, by the way. Phenomenal people. Lonzo, when I went curling, turns out I'm a natural.
Yeah, after I got over being called a Muppet.
Which was freaking hysterical.
I had a pretty good time. And
freaking hilarious.
Gave me an excuse to sing Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet live on the air. Not everyone can say they did that.
Yeah.
But I did. Yeah, it was fun till the knee started giving out. And then our guy whose name was a female-ish name from Canada, French Canadian. I cannot remember his name.
Renee?
No, I don't think it was Renee.
It was Renee.
Was it Renee?
Yeah.
All right, I apologize for the female thing. Showed me how he has to curl because of hip replacements and
with
so
a big stick.
Yeah, so I learned how to do that too. Not as fun, but still fun.
Curling's great.
When I was down on the knee and doing the sliding thing, it just felt really good for a little bit. And then when you step on that Teflon thing and go, oh.
I was very good. I was like impressively good. To the point that now I almost want to be like, yo, Matt, do you need a fourth? I feel like I'm ready to compete at the highest level.
No, I don't want to downplay how good you were.
That's pretty good.
In your memory, each year further away, you get better, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I was great from the start, and I'm still great now.
Okay. All right.
So if we get Matt Hamilton
all I know is you could tell you were having a good time. You couldn't tell I was, but I was having a good time, and it was fun. And it everyone who thinks that they can do that, you probably can't. You probably can't.
I can. We'll see if we get Matt Hamilton up in here. Here's a quick question about the NBA Finals after Game 1 last night. Was last night what the series is, or was last night an anomaly? I think that's the best way that I can boil it down. I think last night was what the series is. I believe Lonzo thinks last night was an anomaly.
I think there were circumstances, and it's the NBA Finals, and a lot of people there for the first time, and it's too long of a layoff. I think if they started playing 3 games later, it would have been a totally different story.
If they started, what?
All right, so the Celtics have waited a while, but Dallas was on a roll, playing every other night or however it is, but then they had to wait an entire week. You had talked about a bunch about rust versus rest and all that kind of stuff. I think the rest also hurt Dallas because they were on a roll and then they had to wait a week. They came out cold and Boston came out hot, and I think it'll be a totally different story. I think Game 2 tells the story of the entire series.
Dallas was on a roll. You're not wrong. The win over Minnesota, the domination of Minnesota in Game 6 was obviously a momentum that is very difficult to capture and very difficult to carry into another series for sure. I'm not pushing back against that at all. Let's not pretend like Boston didn't have to wait an entire day extra and more than Dallas did, and do so with a returning critical piece of their offense.
Yeah. To that end, Joey B on the stream says Kristaps hadn't played in almost 2 months and was a monster. If he plays like that the rest of the series, it's going to be over quick. He really did look good, and he looked like he was having a good time. And I think he looks like he's in the best shape of his career. I mean, just overall, because I thought he was a little too small when he came into the league, and it just Yeah, he looked good. He did.
I mean, he didn't just look good. He played out of his freaking skull last night. Dude was just on a next level. And again, to me, the reason Dallas was going to be in this, there were factors. Number one, I thought Jason Kidd was going to outcoach Joe Mazzulla. He did not last night. Last night, Jason Kidd looked out of his depth. He looked like he didn't know what to do. In fact, I don't know if you've seen Great One, his post-game press conference. And again, I try not to read too much into this stuff, but that's not to say I don't read into it at all. Jason Kidd looked disheveled at his press conference. He came out, he had the backwards fitted cap that was like on top of his head. Jason Kidd looked like what I look like the morning after I polish off a bottle of Jaeger. Just like,
See, I don't know. He always kind of has that look. Even when he's back playing, I don't know if I would have been able to tell.
There was something about him last night that looked, and
Well,
again,
yeah, his team got their butts whipped, and of course you're not going to come out there all smiles.
I'm not saying smiles, man, but like he just looked defeated. I'm not saying you got to come out and be all smiles, but like I think you do have to come out and put some sort of, I don't know, hope on display, right? Like, even if you're about to get Rogue One, I think you got to have some level of hope.
Hope for who?
His damn basketball team.
Yeah, he probably had already talked to his team. I mean, I don't think the team is looking to what he says in the media as motivation one way or the other. If they do, they shouldn't.
I don't know. He looked defeated. He looked out of it. And the rest of his team did as well. So if Kristaps Porzingis, who, by the way, with all those numbers that my dude put up, he played 20 minutes, not 35. He played 20 minutes and went for 20 points and 6 boards. What do you think they're going to do when they up the minute restriction to 30, 32, 35? If that dude's going to play like that, and the only thing Dallas had going for him last night was Luka, and even Luka, like, it wasn't a great night. He just had a huge shot quality because nobody else was hitting the damn thing. This thing's going to be over before it starts. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
I was helping the listeners, test their woofers.
Vibe.
Yeah, just. When you listen to sports talk and suddenly your bass starts kicking, you're welcome. Minute and a half.
Legacy Golf at District Park is opening June 10th, powered by TrackMan. Choose your course, choose your club, perfect your swing. It really is that simple.
800. A bit like Sci-Fi's Anywhere Door or Phoenix Gate, it opened on October 15th, 2018 to whisk college athletes to a new school.
All experience levels step up their game. Legacy Golf.
They call it the transfer portal. 800. A bit like
DistrictParkSC.com.
Well, it's beautiful out there. Sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car.
Sorry, I'd seen that pop up a bunch, but didn't actually get to see the video. I mean, hear the audio. That's funny. Come around here real quick.
With Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal,
800. A bit like Sci-Fi's Anywhere Door or Phoenix Gate, it opened on October 15th, 2018 to whisk college athletes to a new school. They call it the transfer portal.
800.
That's good work. That's good work.
I thought it was real for a while.
That's good work.
Yeah.
Big. Mine are like big, John. How big?
United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
I've seen bigger.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate.
Yeah.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage.
For anyone who heard that audio and wondered what it was Dalton Castle and Johnny,
the boys.
Johnny TV or whatever he's called in ROH.
All right, efforting Matt Hamilton. We'll see if we end up with him. My guy Roy's out there busting his rumpus, trying to track down Matt and get him on the show. Looks like we may miss out on him. I'm going to get Matt Hamilton on this show, all right? I'm going to get that guy on the show. I've been trying for 3 freaking years at this point to get Matt Hamilton on the show. So we'll see if we can track him down. We'll see if we can get him up there.
You know, you could probably get him in the time when he's not at the BMW.
I've tried.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've genuinely put in more work than I'm necessarily proud of to try to get an Olympic gold medal winning curler. Curlist? He's a curltiste?
Well, I mean, maybe, but I believe it's just curler.
I'm going curler. I'm going curlist. I think they deserve the respect, right? Curlist. Going with the world famous curlist on the show. Anyway, been trying to run that cat down for like a while. BMW Pro-Am taking place through the weekend at Thornblade Country Club and at Carolina Country Club. If you get a chance to get out there. I've gone the last couple of years. It's a blast. It's a blast. Speaking of Chris, had the generosity last year to bring me out there and had a great time, man. Had a phenomenal time. So if you get a chance to get out there and do that, I highly encourage you to do so. All right, couple of things that we need to run through. A Michael Jordan trading card sold this. A trading card, one card. A 2003-2004 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection autographed Jordan Logo Man card with a sewn NBA patch taken off of a game-worn jersey. Just sold. Great one for how much?
$4 million.
2.9.
Okay.
2.9. 3 mil. You're off by $1 million. And I set you up to go high for sure.
Well, I was thinking the Pokemon cards go for more than that. So, I mean, that may be why.
There are times as a sports dude, those of you that know me personally or have watched any time that I have streamed from the house, you know that I am very proud of my customized jersey collection, right? The majority of them are given to me by teams that I have worked for or covered or whatever. But I will also acknowledge that I have spent a not insignificant amount of dollar bill, y'all, over the years purchasing many of these jerseys. I am again, I'm very proud of them. I love my jerseys. I can't understand people who can drop $3 million on a basketball card. I don't care if it's Jordan. I don't care if that was the patch that came off the flu game jersey. I don't care if that was the patch that was on the jersey he was wearing after his final NBA championship. I don't care about any of it. How in the hell you dropping $3 million on a baseball card, dog?
Maybe you heard Rob Brown talking about billionaires yesterday and went, "Oh man, you know what? If I buy this card though, that takes me below $1 billion, so I'm gonna do that." If you have expendable income like that, it's like when you decide to buy the Deion Sanders sunglasses. It's the same thing for them if you have that amount of money.
Yeah, mine were $45.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing if you're a multimillionaire.
And I bought them because they were on sale. What is your prized piece of sports memorabilia? Like, what's the thing right now? You get to keep one thing that you own out of your sports memorabilia collection.
You brought me a Luke Kuechly signed football.
I was going to guess.
Yeah, because I don't really collect things. I have a couple autographs, and they're not sports related. So other than that, but they are show related. People that I got to interview on the other show. So,
see, I prefer a picture. Right? Like if I end up meeting somebody, we get Damian Priest in here or whoever.
Oh, I love the picture. And I love when we have people on StreamYard because the video is pretty much forever.
Yeah.
So we can go, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy that. But there's been a couple times where I had a wonderful experience interviewing people, and they were landmarks for me. The first time that I got to interview anyone by myself scared me half to death. Cameron was there, but still the first time being on air without someone to help me, the guys that I interviewed, voiceover actors, went and saw them at Comic-Con and got their autographs because that was a landmark thing for me. I never thought I'd have enough guts to do that, and I did that. And then also I've got a signed machete because who doesn't do that? I mean, from the guy who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 2.
I think it's important that you give the context of that.
Right. And with that, the scariest movie of my youth was that movie. And so there are things that correlate or that vibe with that thing that make it more important to me. Would I pay that much for a card? Absolutely not. I wish I had the money to decide if I could. I mean,
the one that I have that I am that holds its special spot is not even like a player that jumps off the page. It's more the story that goes along with it. In 1996, my old man took me and my little brother over to New Orleans for the 1996 college football national championship game. And we were staying in a hotel a street down from the New Orleans Superdome. And the old man and my brother and I and the Madre were in the elevator going up to the room. And this young black guy got into the elevator, and he's in there for 2 or 3 floors, and he stops and he gets off the elevator. And right before the door closes and he's down the hall, my dad peeks his head out and he watches this guy go in the room. And we're like, okay. My dad, without releasing the elevator door, looks and he goes, "Do you know who that was?" And we went, "No." It was Lynn Swann. All right. Famous Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. It was Lynn Swann. So he goes, "Hold on." So we went up to the room.
Is this before or after Waterboy?
This was 1996. So before? Waterboy was what? Like early 2000s?
Remember, Lynn Swann was in Waterboy. That's the only reason why I'm saying that.
Before. So he was still very much a football guy.
So
Lynn Swann.
The reason why I asked that is because if you saw Waterboy and it was right around there, I bet you would have recognized.
This was 2 years before the debut of Waterboy. So he goes, "That was Lynn Swann." I'm like, "I don't know who Lynn Swann is." He goes, "He's Pittsburgh Steeler. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer." Lynn Swann was in town, obviously, because he was on the television broadcast for the national championship game. So the Padre brings us back up to our room. He grabs stationery from the hotel. He goes, "Let's go." He brings us back to the elevator, back down to the room that Lynn Swann went in. And my dad knocks on the door. Lynn Swann opens it. "Can I help you?" And my dad was like, "Yep, really sorry to bother you. These are my boys. They're big football fans. They were wondering if they could get an autograph." Lynn Swann goes, yeah. And so I hold out the tablet of hotel stationery and a little Bic pen. And he goes, no, we can do better than that. And he goes, come in. And Lynn Swann brought us into the hotel room, and he walked over, and he got his bag, and he pulled out a Sharpie out of the bag, and he wrote me and my brother both a very kind, encouraging note and signed it. And he chatted football with us. He said, who's your football team? And we talked football, talked college football for a while, talked NFL ball for a little while. He told us everything that was wrong with the New Orleans Saints, which in the mid-'90s was like all of it.
As opposed to now.
Yeah, where it's just freaking Dennis Allen. But he talked football with us for like, I don't know, 6-7 minutes, which as a 11-year-old kid feels like an eternity, right?
And on that day, Rob Brown decided, I'm going to be in sports.
Yeah. I mean, that lie to tell it's not at least some sort of the influence, because the recognition that my guy was getting flown around the country to talk about football, and that's something that you could do for a living, like
this day and age, you could not do that. You could not walk over and knock on their door and ask for that.
I don't know. I've been fortunate enough. I've covered 3 Army-Navy games. And in those Army-Navy games, we were in the same hotel as the CBS crew that was covering them. One of them, 2007, maybe 8, somewhere there, was early in my career. Tracy Wolfson's hotel room was 3 or 4 doors down from me. And whenever they would, the CBS crew would get back to the hotel, they would just kind of go wherever, right? Like in the hotel, they'd be at the bar. Like I saw Tracy downstairs walking around the bar. She'd go up in the elevator by herself up to the room. So you probably still could, but I think it is more like because of the sponsorship of the trip that I was on, I make the assumption that CBS probably, or I guess whatever entity in this case, ABC, whoever, probably like rents out a whole floor of rooms, right? So it's only people who work on the broadcast together. And I just happened to be on it because it was a big damn hotel in DC that year. I think you could probably still have that moment, but whether or not you can, like later, obviously, Pops would tell me more about Lynn Swann, and then I'd research and read books about Lynn Swann. And not only was he a stellar dude, not only did he like recognize that a ballpoint pen wasn't going to cut it for the autographs we were looking for, but brought us into his hotel room, talked football with us for like 10 minutes. He didn't have to do that, right? He could have been like, get the hell out of my hotel room. What are you talking about? He sat on a chair. He talked football with us for like 10 minutes, and all that because my old man had the rocks to be like, let me give this kid a moment. And it is one that I have not forgotten to that point. That autograph is inside of a plastic sleeve, inside of another plastic sleeve in a memo book in the house. I got a lot of cool stuff. I got a Ken Griffey Jr. autograph. I've got a pair of wristbands that I got from Morton Anderson, the Great Dane. That Lynn Swann autograph is always going to be at the top of the list, man. It's a great one.
The Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Tell me Matt Hamilton is trending right now.
Am I the only one who's disappointed that I thought we were getting a Tracy Wolfson story? And there's one getting in the elevator going up to, I thought that's where we were heading.
I will give you one. Tracy Wolfson and I ended up on the way to the game itself on the same bus. And Tracy Wolfson ended up sitting in the seat next to me. Number one, she is 2 feet 1 inches tall. All right. Like whenever you see her interviewing players on the sideline postgame, please know she's standing on a box. All right. I'm not kidding, Lonzo. She's legitimately this tall. All right. She's a hobbit. But I will also say that she sat next to me in the seat. And
so you're saying you have plenty of room.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I was not worried about man spreading. She couldn't touch the ground. She needed a kiddie seat.
Was she kicking her legs?
So she sat next to me, and I told her I was a fan. Like, it's one of those things, like, if we're in a spot like that where, like, I have to acknowledge you. You're seated next to me. I try to do it carefully. Pleasure to meet you. I'm a big fan. I enjoy your work. And then it's it. And if they're willing to continue the conversation, phenomenal. She asked me what I was doing there. I told her, like, I'm a little nobody down in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I broadcast radio. They flew me up here to represent Pensacola Naval Air Station because at the time the game was sponsored by USAA, and they would fly up representatives from hundreds of military bases to represent that base at the game. So I was asked to come up and represent Pensacola Naval Air Station, where my radio station was. And so I told her, and she was like, that's fine. We had a probably 30-minute chat on the bus on the way to the game. She was super, super nice. And on the bus ride back to the hotel, I said, hey, if it's not too big of a problem, I'd love to have you on my show one day. I was in the broadcasting game maybe 2 years at this point. I didn't really have contacts. I didn't really know people. She goes, absolutely. She pulled out a slip of paper from her purse, wrote her cell phone number on it, and was like, call me up. I'll come on your show anytime. And I was like, absolutely. And I got to tell you, the most proud of myself I've ever been was not getting drunk that night and texting Tracy Wolfson and being like, girl, let's go. Let's go to the bar right now. We're in DC. Let's live it up.
You up?
Yeah, right. I would be 100% lying to tell you that thought didn't cross the mind. Like, maybe she gave me her phone number, dude. Like, maybe I got to crack at Tracy Wolfson. And this is true, did not.
You didn't think you had a chance, or you just didn't take your shot?
Both. I was like, after the text would have gone before I went out drinking in DC with a couple of the fellas from our little entity, our little group, our little partay. But like, it started with, come on, dude, shoot your shot, right? Like Wayne Gretzky and Michael Scott said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Shoot your shot with Tracy Wilson. And then I had enough whiskey to talk myself out of texting Tracy Wolfson.
All right. 3 things that are Xing really quick. First thing, it's National Donut Day, which I know that hurts Rob. The second thing that's Xing is Pat Sajak. I'll go ahead and tell you, tonight's the last night for Pat Sajak.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I genuinely didn't know that.
In case you want to check that out. And finally, the last thing that is Xing is Tingus Pingus.
Tingus Pingus with a big one. Tingus Pingus got a big one. And he laid it down last night, didn't he? I'll tell you
another
what
thing that I've wanted to say on the air for like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Say it more.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
I don't want to say it anymore.
I will tell you what killed me yesterday. I had to go to the grocery store to pick up some stuff for dinner. Dolly Parton has a line of Krispy Kreme donuts out right now, and they're beautiful. Yeah. They're beautiful donuts. I don't know how else to say that. Dolly Parton has big, beautiful donuts.
She does.
And I love Dolly Parton's big, beautiful donuts. She's an amazing person.
You don't, because you can't partake.
Oh, dude. And they put them right by the checkout. And I'm looking at them like, if I wasn't getting paid to not be fat, I'd have absolutely put my face all up on Dolly Parton's big, beautiful donuts. See you guys back here Monday on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate later. Yeah.
He's so proud of himself. He is so happy.
Oh, that worked out so great. Old Tingus.
I had never heard of that before, so I saw a trend and I'm like, what is that? And then I saw what it was, like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Old Tingus Pingus. Joey B's been calling him that all week, and it makes me laugh every time. All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all stellar people. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoy the show. Please, 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 please tell your friends about us, because we want to continue to grow the show. And also, I'm real tired of having Cole and Diesel have more stream viewers than we do. So we got to pump those numbers up, man. Got to get those numbers up. Follow us on social media at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. Have a great weekend. I'll drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. And go get yourself a mouthful of Dolly Parton's Big Beautiful Donuts. See you back here Monday. Goodbye.